Tall Score to last for his little reveal. But we've got Josh back with us today. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I've just finished up cleaning the blood from Louise. She's not with us today. It's to do with the Halloween show we're doing. I promise.
It's all part of it.
That's what I told the officers.
That's dark.
Yeah, so you can find us getting into some fun today. I've decided to throw a little bit of a Halloween turn on stuff, and I've had some help. Some of you guys there in chat got in contact, and someone's been plotting with me during the weekly break, and terrible things are going to happen, and I'm super excited.
Absolutely. I should make a couple of things known. It's the last chance for the curses. It's the last day of the month. So the curses are 50% off your last chance to screw with us and our players. And I will know that already £100 has been donated before you've even started the show. So we're going to have to get through that in a minute, both from Isriver and Mr. Bad Boy Grant. Fuck me. All right, let's go around. We got Lorelani with us today. How you doing?
I was doing great until I heard we had $100 in curses. God damn it! Great, happy Halloween. I'm not dressed up, but I got a spooky T-shirt on, so that counts for something, right?
Yeah.
Playing Zune, the necromantic dark elf wizard, with now thumbs coming out of her hands. I do have hands for this episode, so that's nice. We'll see how long that lasts with curses, but yeah, ready to play.
Absolutely. We've got Ho TB. No, he hasn't got TB. I keep doing that. Ho TV. He's been checked. He's clean. Aaron, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Today I am playing Liz. For now. Not getting too much detail, as we'll figure out in the campaign what's going on.
Who the fuck is Liz?
Gliz is.
Oh, I
Liz.
thought that was like, is that the Halloween
today.
surprise?
No. Gliz Thunderwarg, as he's known. He is a goblin that is trapped in the continuous cycle of the town. I can't forget the name of the town, forgive me. Lymore. He's trapped in a time loop within Lymore, and he's the only one within the time loop that knows that he's stuck there. And he's a goblin tinkerer of sorts. So with that, I'll hand it over to someone else.
Absolutely. Well, I think this is a moment that we've all been waiting for. Tall School.
I'm afraid.
You know,
it's gonna.
Dude, I'm totally prepared for the most excellent adventure in Dungeons and Dragons, dude.
How did I know?
I was not ready.
That was not what I was expecting at all.
How are you, dudes?
The only way I can describe that is radical. That was the most radical.
Can we please give all the curses to Kevin?
Every single curse.
Dude, it's going to be such an awesome game.
You look like a better version of Ozzy.
Totally be excellent to each other's, man.
My eyes.
Oh my god.
Fucking hell. Oh, I need a close up on that shit. Alright, well, fucking hell, yes.
I've got tears in my eyes. That was awesome.
Tall School, how are you? How are you?
I'm doing great.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah. I am most excellent, dude.
He's like totally tubular.
Showing off my age totally, because I saw this in the theaters, dudes.
Oh god! Oh god!
Tall School, who are you going to be playing today?
Dude, I'm totally playing Gavin. He's like my main dude, man. He's been with me like since the beginning, so he's like totally stuck inside of Lymore.
Perfect. Oh, I've got that close up saved for all the history now. Perfect.
It is either way too early or way too late for this shit. I don't know.
Holy shit. Well, yes, Talk will be playing Gavin today. As myself, I'll be reprising my own role as Gregor Tuscan, the dwarf fighter, who's also having a good time in Lymore last time we saw him. So, I'll quickly read out these donations. First of all, Israel donated £50. A very wildly magical Halloween to you all. Curses for all, and now an extra one for Laurelania because Louise isn't here. So 2 for Zune, 1 for everyone else, and a wild magic surge for boss monsters. And then Grant Ellis donated £50. I'm the DM now. You must all make a Constitution save versus the Curse of Grant, DC 21. All who fail must accept their fate. Bad boy Grant. I don't think I've saved a single Constitution saving throw this game despite being a dwarf.
Fuck!
So, how many things do we have to roll? A con save to start with? Is that it?
Con save to start with, DC of 21. Looks like we've all failed so far.
Dude, my top Constitution totally sucks. And I rolled a nat 1, dudes.
Brilliant. So, first of all, we all have to roll at least one curse from his river, one curse from Grant.
I got 96. That's not good.
You got a second one, Lauren Anya.
Yeah, I did a 30 and a 96, so let's just ham it on me. I'm ready. I'm ready!
Welcome to fucking Halloween.
Fuck your curses.
67s, dude. 69, dude.
Fuck, I don't know if I can keep this up.
I'm not sure if I can either, but we'll see, dudes.
I rolled a 79 and a 68. Alright, so first curse, Urho rolled a 7. Yeah. Fuck me. Okay, roll a d8, Urho. No reason. Just to see which curse of sin
Ones are good.
you might get. A 1, that's good. You get the curse of lust. Good. Good. You
A lusty goblin.
You now have the sin of lust, which is very predominant within your own psyche right now. So what was your other D100? Because we each have 2. If you roll me another one D100, I'll go around the table and do curses as we go around. So, Aaron, if you can roll another D100.
He said, "Oh, sorry,"
Yeah, no.
or something.
Yeah. Oh shit, no worries. A 33. Special diet. All consumables are now confused with mundane, non-edible items in proximity to those that are consumable. So you may just
So
start
like there's a candlestick
Yeah.
on the table, then
He's
he's like, candlestick.
Good, good.
Oh, okay. So this is basically just goblins as what they would normally be.
Yeah, pretty much, I'd say.
Um,
Okay, Jay, you rolled a 67.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Wow, the curse of self-invisibility. Your naked body is invisible, but only in the narrowest technical definition. You appear as a ghastly form made of skin flakes and loose hairs. Also, it turns out that no number of wipes is enough to use a latrine. A thin brown film is visible unless you bathe thoroughly. Happy fucking Halloween. That is not nice.
Most excellent, most bogus curse, dudes.
Tool School, roll me another D100.
Oh, there was 2, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And a 44.
44. You have the prisoner's curse. You've got the same curse as Gregor. You become indistinguishable in every way from a wanted criminal in whatever region you are in. Hopefully you look like me.
Gavin, give me a smile, buddy. Yeah. I am keeping that forever.
Tia, if you could roll us, I think you have 3 D100s.
I gave a 30 for my first one.
Okay, a 30 for your first one. You have 7. Oh my god, the same one as last time!
So now I have more thumbs?
2 thumbs sprout from another random place on your
So you now
hand.
have a 9.
No, you now have an extra set of toes as well.
Oh,
You
that's
got
a good
Extra
idea.
thumbs, extra toes.
Holy no.
I think she gets bonuses on dex checks. She's like all prehensile now.
Right? You know, I know. it. Go ahead.
96 for my next one.
96 on your next one reads unconsummated. You have disadvantage. Oh my god, this is... Holy shit, I just read it. You have disadvantage on all skill checks and saves while in the presence of a goat, while in combat with a giant, or inside a religious hall that is untidy. Well, you have a goat. I have a goat called Ramsey.
You have a goat.
You have a good.
The ram, Ramses.
Ramses.
So I get disadvantage on what exactly?
Skill checks
Everything.
and saves
Everything.
while in the presence of Ramses.
I'm I'm gonna kill that goat. Just FYI. I'm sorry, Zippy. And did you say I needed to do one
You
more? I
have
have
one
3?
more from Israel, and then we
Okay,
are...
1d100. Praise Curiosity. 35.
35 reads... Sakuri's Trip. Anytime the cursed player makes any kind of dexterity-based check, the DM must roll a d20. On a roll of a 5 or lower, the check fails and the player trips, causing them to go prone.
Oh my god. Dex checks check with DM to roll 1d20 under
Yup.
5. Eat shit. Got it.
So, should I just assume I look like some wanted criminal hairball? Is that
You look
dust,
like your
dust bunny
Halloween
from under
costume.
someone's bed? Is that?
I want Gavin to look like his Halloween costume today.
I just
100%.
Curse of Ted.
Yeah.
Curse of Ted, yeah.
All right. Well, that is.
I'll be happy to trade in Invisible for Curse of Ted, and then I have to talk like Ted for the whole time.
So let me get this straight. So my goblin is very lustful, and it misinterprets certain things as food.
Yes.
Is that what
Yeah.
what are the certain things? Because
Pretty much anything.
Anything. It could be a candle. It could be a. What did I roll? I forgot to do.
Consumables. It's any consumable is now food consumable. So bullets, arrows, think consumables,
Yeah,
candles,
if I can
torches.
put it in my mouth, I basically think I'm like a toddler.
Yeah, I mean, you're a goblin. You're pretty good at it. Okay, as for myself, butterfly effect. The first decision I make once I enter any town or dungeon sets off a chain of events leading to something that either hurts me physically or hurts my social standing. Great. Fate of Matthew Grizzly for the host. Welcome in, my friend. We've got a Halloween D&D special going here, and we are all fucking cursed. A 79 reads, Unpredictable Growth. The creature, me, has a 50% chance to grow by 1 size every time I use a charisma-based skill. The new size lasts 6 seconds and has the same effect as though I were casting Enlarge. So if I succeed on like a persuasion check or a charm or a deception, then I may become very large for about 6 seconds. Good. Well, those are our initial Halloween curses here today. Thank you to Isriver and Grant Ellis for those curses. Of course, the curse are 50% off, so expect them to coming hot and heavy today as our last chance. But I will hand over to Josh to pick up on this very special Halloween episode of The Long March.
So what about the Constitution save thing?
Those were extra curses. We've already done this.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, thank God. Okay, right. So you guys, trying to wrap my head around all of that. Right. Okay. You guys, 2 of you have made it to where you're going. 2 of you haven't. One of whom isn't here right now. So, Will, do you remember vaguely what happened last time?
Yes, I do. I got in a fight with a demon, with Demon Cock, my former...
Knobbly Demon
My
Cock.
Knobbly Demon
Angel Cock, who became Demon Knobbly Cock. It was good.
Yeah. That was good. Me and Louise, Kaza, fought against it and managed to escape after escaping from a vampire as well. And we just fucking ran, basically. That's what we did. As for the other group, I mean, it's been a long week. I don't remember exactly what they got up to.
Yeah. So you managed to you're sort of running, trying to escape from vampires and also from some kind of demon, which was not pleasant. And running, carrying a very, very heavily injured Kazna, who is bleeding profusely and is also trying desperately to sort of cling to consciousness. And you run off into the mists, whereas with the other group, you guys, Gavin and Zune, made it to Limor, made it inside, and found out some interesting things about Limor. Tall School, do you remember exactly what you found out about Limor?
It's Groundhog Day. It's totally Groundhog Day, dude. They're reliving the battle over and over again, like every single day. People die, stuff burns. It's like totally bogus, but then it's okay again because they totally wake up and it's like most excellent, but then it's bogus again. It's kind of like Rufus in the Time Machine, dude. It just over and over and over again. They totally need a phone booth here.
That's entirely true. So, oh boy, that's you guys found out that essentially time time doesn't work in Limor anymore. Something happened, and they have been trapped in this huge dome, and this dome is destined to repeat the same day from 3 a.m. onwards, over and over again. They were told you should never be here by their wizard tour guide. You should never be here after sort of when the time change happens, because something bad will most definitely happen.
When daylight savings kicks in, yeah.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. So he's sort of been here studying for quite some time and found that you guys came along. Seems to think you're investors who are looking to sort of purchase Limor or rent Limor for nefarious purposes. So he gave you the tour, and he introduced you to the only individual in Limor who seems to be aware that they're reliving the same day over and over again, which is a small goblin named Glitz. And Glitz has been making crazy arcane construct things down in a basement somewhere. He was once a fighter who led one of these forces here and has since given up the ghost, as everyone here just, it doesn't matter if you win, doesn't matter if you lose, you'll be fine. And right at the end, they all tried to escape. Gliss was destroyed by the wizard who just blew him apart for getting in his way. And the wizard tried to run, but got attacked by a huge mechanical direwolf. And then Zune split from Gavin to run after something, and Gavin tried to fly out of the sphere. And when he got to the edge, he impacted and realized he couldn't leave, thanks to the best wild magic surge ever, which is you are immortal but locked in indefinite prison. That was beautiful. You guys make this show. So that's where we find ourselves with Gavin. You have a concussion, to say the least. You flew head first, almost as fast as you damn well could, into a wall, essentially, of sheer force, and you sort of bounced off, came crashing down onto the floor, and you are now lying there as this energy, this white energy that sort of covered the entire area, has turned a sickly green and is now sort of pulsing brighter and brighter. And this has not gone well. However, lying next to you on the floor, where you've crashed down, you've basically come down amongst, like, I love it. You come down, you're sort of lying there in the street, covered in mud, amongst sort of the bodies of those who have fallen this day. You land amongst two guys, both of whom sort of look like they held their ground against sort of like oncoming forces in the street. They appear to be, you'd imagine, not particularly the strongest of fighters. They appear to be arcane mages of some sort. And one of them sort of is lying there just crumpled on the floor, but they're essentially like holding their arms out to each other, sort of trying to reach for each other with their fists clenched. And in one of their arms, in their hand, you see something. It is a guitar. The guitar calls to you. You can see written on the guitar,
Wild Stallions, dudes!
Yes, you can, my friend.
No.
You are. So you guys, I changed that entirely because you guys all got donated magic items, but I'm changing it. You can have the guitar of the Wild Stallions, which gives you a couple of spells that you can cast. Those are the basic ones, and there's also something else cool. So basically, yeah, you pick it up and instantly attune to it as you are the most in tune, in sync. It's amazing. But with it, sort of the second you pick it up, you watched as the guy who was lying there, he shifts slightly, and it seems to change. And as you pick up the guitar, while you are holding this guitar, the second you lift it off the floor and you feel the energy rush down across you, while you have it upon your person, your visage changes entirely. You still feel as you were before. You can feel like the armor shifting under the illusion, but you have a mop of black hair, a white t-shirt on, a black waistcoat, a red sash tied off. Yeah, It's a beautiful moment.
I'm Ted Theodore Logan, and we are Wild Stallions.
And you realize that your voice has changed ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly.
For some reason. And everything you say carries slightly less authority, but at the same time is awesome. And that's okay.
It's most excellent? Is that what you're saying?
Most excellent, indeed. So, you crashed to the floor. This is actually quite bogus, though, because what you've tried to do is leave, and you apparently can't leave.
So, dude, I totally want to have an emotional scene with, Lucas, who's still outside, who's totally been left by himself. But I'm thinking it's kind of not going to come off that well. Dude, I'm Gavin. I'm totally, a cool guy. And, you should, go live your life and don't worry about me and go further and be a totally awesome vampire. Redeem yourself, dude. Totally.
He is actually standing on the other side, looking at you in sheer confusion. And you can see he's standing there. The first thing you'll notice is he has blood on his hands. Quite a bit of blood on his hand. And he's you can see this because he's basically slammed a bloody handprint into the shield to try and get through. And it looks like it's burnt his hand, and it quite clearly has hurt him to touch it. But there is more blood. It goes up his arms, and it's sort of staining his clothing.
Dude, it's totally radiant energy, and you're totally a vampire. So I don't think you can come in. But don't despair, dude, because you need to learn to be excellent to everybody. And if you totally learn that, then I'm telling you, the Raven Queen will accept you back into her arms and you will live a most excellent afterlife.
It looks like he's having an aneurysm. He's just so confused. But he looks at you and sort of says, "What about the boy?"
Wait, Scab is with us, isn't he?
No, Scab is outside.
Right, with him.
Yeah.
Dude, just as you were my charge, he is now your responsibility. You totally need to take him and make sure that he stays safe and lives the best way he can, and that his life is filled with hope and joy.
Thank you, Charis.
He's sort of there's a moment of sort of confusion, and then he looks at you and says, "He's bleeding badly." And you would suddenly remember, as the fight kicked off, Kazna tried to break him free, and there is something that has basically run him through. It's small and it's...
Yep, I remember.
But the only person on hand to look after him right now is maybe not the best nurse you could hope for.
My dude, life is totally full of tough choices sometimes. And what some people totally think is evil sometimes is the best you can do. So I need you to totally trust me right now, and I know in my heart that you can totally do this. I need you to turn Scab without killing him so that he will live. I trust you, dude. It is totally within you. I know the goodness that is inside of you and know that you will do the right thing. And she will know too. Holding up my Raven Queen hand.
You notice actually, basically you just have one really long glove on at the moment. That's how it translates. It's just a really long glove with picks for nails. He looks at you and You taught us never to...
Dude, you should never do it out of hunger or out of evil. But you are doing this from a place of good. And if you do that, it is totally not going to mark against your soul with the Raven Queen. In fact, it might be the thing that will totally save it. Evil and good are just constructs, dude. You have to see what is the motivation in order to see the real good in the world. I trust you, dude. You're like my son.
He flinches at that and doesn't quite.
I'm assuming this guitar is cursed, so I can't put it down and look like me, right? Because I'm totally liking doing it this way.
You can put it down,
Oh, whoops. I thought it was cursed. I thought it was a cursed item.
No, it's not a cursed item.
Gavin totally doesn't realize that.
So he sort of looks, sort of stares at his feet and nods and sort of he's got that really bashful, like embarrassed / nervous first day at a new school kind of look. And he just nods and
so Gavin does put the guitar down and puts his hand up to it, so he reverts back to normal self, and he puts his hand, he's doing the big Spock and Kirk thing here.
Ow.
Lucas, I've trusted you. I always have. You can do this. Just as I tried to save all of you, it is now your duty to save this boy. You are the only one. You are his hope. I trust you.
he nods and turns, and before he goes to walk away, he stops and says, "If you're wrong, and this does go against me, against my soul, I want you to be the one to do it."
You know that I will.
And like a flash, he suddenly takes off sprinting, almost sort of falling to all fours as he runs faster than any mortal could. It's that terrifying shift of human to predator that's a little disconcerting, but you've done what you can, and unfortunately, you can't follow him.
Mm-mm.
And as you sort of hear behind you, there is a voice that rings out, almost as if coming down from the sky. And you see, in the distance, slightly set back from town, there is something glowing within. There is what appears to be a beam of energy that comes down, and it seems to sort of pour out of the dome, and the dome sort of shimmers and ripples in that direction, and it doesn't weaken in any way, but you see the concentration of green light appears focused there and suddenly turns golden. And it's set back from town. You can see from where you came in, where you materialized before, there was this cliff that you were looking over. And as you look along, it seems to be right to the edge of the cliff, the furthest from town, that is encapsulated by this bubble, as this golden strand appears. And we're going to cut to Laurelania. Laurelania, you are running, or flying, actually, I believe.
Flying, yes.
Yeah. You are flying in which particular direction?
If it hasn't given me a sense of direction, then just anywhere I think it might have ended up. Also, I'd like to instruct it that should I forget its existence is here, by the time resets, to call out to me again.
Okay. So you're rushing towards what appears to be maybe sort of a churchyard of some sort, and it would appear that there is sort of a bell tower that reaches up into the sky. It's not it's not imposing by any means, but it certainly towers across any other structure here. And from the top of the bell tower, you can sort of feel this tug. And you notice that some of the shutters have been removed.
I head over to that direction. Where are you?
As you get closer, give me an Arcana check.
That should do it.
Hot damn. Okay. So on a 27, you reach the top of the tower, but just as you get close, you realize that there is a lot of warding magic of sorts that seems to be around, and it seems to be focused primarily sort of going down throughout the tower, probably sort of traps laid upon the stairs. But you get to the top on the outside, and as you look in, you can see that there is what appears to be a treasure trove of stuff littered around, boxes, smashed items, and they littered in a very strange fashion around the edge of the room. And in the center of the room, right below the bell tower, there is a box. And just as you sort of go to reach closer, I'm going to pause for a moment because we've had a couple of donations in.
Yeah.
So one of them I'm keeping quiet about.
That's from Scraticus, I think.
He knows.
He knows.
He knows a thing. There is a curse for Will, obviously.
Every time I have a conversation with someone of the opposite sex, I begin to undress until all clothing is removed.
You're in plate armor.
I'm in plate armor. Yeah, that's good.
Just
Who needs plate armor?
hey! Oh, it's going to be like a good 20-minute ordeal of like crap.
And nat 20s for the players as well.
Nat 20s to all of the players. Happy days from that salty ginger, less salty today, feeling more forgiving.
That's going to be so needed.
Yes, thank you.
You see in front of you there is a box, and the box just emanates power and hunger and 1,001 other things.
Lift the box. Please don't be a fucking mimic. It's Halloween, I know, but come on. Come on.
It's so's a mimic. You know it's a mimic.
I know. Well, the greed in Zune is just too strong. She's so close to what she's wanted for so long, she's sure. I go and I lift the box, hopefully not being eaten.
You lift the lid up, and you look down on a book. A book that is bound in black.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And this book is just drinking in the shadow all around it. It is unholy in the most profane of fashions. But as you go to reach down to touch it, you actually press your hands against what appears to be almost like glass, polished to a point where you can't see it. It's like this fine barrier that you can't even really smudge, but it's there. It's something. And you hear a voice that says, "It has already started to take you, hasn't it?"
I know not of what you speak.
You're changing already.
I've been changing for a long time.
Thanks to somebody else's will. Now you are mine to play with.
Who are you?
Someone new. Someone old.
You are not who I was expecting. I look at the book in the glass. You have baited me with my heart's desire. Well done.
This paltry offering. This is what you desire above all things.
No. It is a step on the journey.
And what is it that you desire, truly, in your heart?
Never-ending life, never-ending knowledge, power.
Endless experiences.
You can read my heart better than I can. It is still beating.
Then I will give you what you desire.
In return, you ask for what?
I ask for nothing. And suddenly the barrier melts, and you, almost sort of having put weight on it, fall slightly into, and your hands touch this old, ancient, cracked, blackened book.
The time will reset. We will be separated 1,000,000,000 times over.
Yes, you will.
Everything will be reset. I cannot cut into my blood, my brain, the ground, nothing.
I can help you leave this place. With that instrument and my influence, I can help bring you to where you need to be now.
I take the book and pocket it.
You take the book, you lift it up, you have the book.
Then we have a deal. What will you spread in return? Who are you? As fond as I am of our little game, it is impolite to keep a lady waiting.
I'm not a fan of waiting.
I could imagine.
And I'm also not one to deny. It is yours. You shall have anything you wish. And I already have what I want. My piece on the board.
Is there any biblical references, religion, anything that's screaming out at me that might give me an idea?
You can give me a religion check.
Nat 20.
Okay, I'm gonna message this to you, and you keep this one to yourself.
I sure will.
Great. Really happy about this.
Everything's coming up soon. I'd clap, but my thumbs get in the way.
I love Halloween. Amount of typing which is happening is what can only be described as disturbing. I can type
Halloween.
too. I'm just sending secret messages. Oops. That was nope. That was a secret message I sent.
I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'd have to roll a thing or two.
I can take my headphones off if you guys wanna. You guys need them.
Yeah. If you guys,
yeah.
I'll do great.
Yeah, let's just fucking go in for it.
Yeah, you guys take your headphones off. Yeah.
All right.
Headphones off. That's get the.
This is good.
On a nat 20, there is someone powerful, someone incredibly powerful, who might be someone who likes to give out presents. Presents is probably the wrong word, but someone who might, for example, give you something that your heart desires. Someone whose visage you are starting to take on. And that happened without me doing anything, and I could not be more stoked about it. There is a demon known as Gratz who has...
Happy Halloween, motherfuckers!
I can hear that even with my headphones off, and I'm scared.
So my headphones are all the way over there, and I can still hear you. I think I might have heard you through the window.
Who has 6 fingers and 6 toes, who might be... Give me one intelligence check.
Oh, baby! Ah, come on. Fuck! No! No!
This is good noise. This is good noise. I like that noise. What's that?
That's all you get. But yes, it is... Supposedly, yeah, you have drawn the attention of someone somehow, and that's a thing. So I will let you quickly. You can respond. I will allow it.
We are going to be good friends, you and I, my lord.
Not looking like that, we won't.
My beauty will forever pale to your own.
Our time is nearly up. You have places to be. Time still moves outside this place, and I cannot reach into it as I'd like. But now, finally, there is no place in Ita that I cannot manipulate and twist.
Well then, let's go. I start flying back to the only person I can think that can control this time rip.
Okay, we're going to give them a second to put everything back on.
I'm so much more worried now.
But yeah, so you guys, seriously, the spookiest things happened with like stuff, and I'm like, that is so plot relevant without me even doing anything, and it's amazing. So yeah, good. Yeah. So you find yourself flying towards Gavin, old buddy. Gavin, you are standing
Totally.
there.
Yep, I got my guitar with me now.
Mm-hmm.
Do I not know who he is now because of his curse?
You would know.
Oh yeah, is actually Ted a wanted criminal?
Yeah, Ted is most definitely a wanted criminal in this town. They crack down hard on rock and roll.
I don't think that would matter to Zune.
So yeah, you start heading towards that. What is Ted doing?
He's heading towards this center of town light and everything because.
Oh, this is on the outskirts of town.
Oh, the light wasn't inside the dome?
No, it's at the edge of the dome, which reaches out of town, and it's on the edge of a cliff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was the center of town, and it reached out. It's at the edge of town, and it's reaching in.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I assume I still have fly on me from
You
Zoom.
do indeed.
Dude, I totally fly over to see what is up there, thinking, Auric, buddy, old pal, old friend, dude, it's time for us to totally meet and throw down.
You fly in that direction, and as you do, you see across a field, a farmstead, along a road leading to, actually from your vantage point, give me a perception check. because you were all up in the air and actually paying attention to shit. Unlike Zoom, who is not.
I'm
21
totally very perceptive with a 21. Blackjack, dude.
21, indeed. And you look down upon your domain and you see that it is...
Most excellent?
No. It is
bogus.
The town is burning beneath you. You can see the bodies in the street, but you can see that out to the east there is an encampment that is made of sort of like tents and fires that have sort of been stubbed out but haven't quite sort of been snuffed properly and are still crackling. There's embers and there's sort of like the fallen remains there of what looks to be a camp. And in the other direction to the west, you can see a much more fortified position with dug in sort of almost trench lines.
Dude, turnabout's fair play. So, thinking to myself, addressing Hex, Bill, are you totally there, dude?
Hex is just...
Oh,
What?
come on.
Earth has...
Bill, are you totally there, dude?
Dude!
There you are, man. Dude, do you totally know what's going on here? They're like totally encamped down there.
Dude, I know! It's so strange and radical and gnarly, dude. Look...
I love the fact that you have to do American on top of it.
Yeah, so... he's just like, what's it even about, dude?
Dude, I totally don't know. Should we go there or should we see what's up with the light up on the hill, dude?
Dude, that is like some wicked cool show going on up there. That's like center stage, dude.
Dude, well, Wild Stallions belong to center stage. Dude, let's go.
And I need to pee.
You need to do a lot of things.
I got so into that. I need to pee now.
Well, you get to one choice before you run away. Scraticus will 1250 tier. Joss's choice: either 10 advantages or 3 nat ones, or double the strength, damage, general meanness of the next boss monster we encounter.
Oh my god!
All of these sound amazing.
I am going to give. Was it 3 nat ones?
Yeah, 3 nat ones.
I'm going to give 3 nat ones to everyone currently in Limor because you're in a bad place.
We're screwed.
Oh wait, that's me. Oh.
No, you're not.
No, you're not in
You're
Limor.
not. No, it's...
Hey, everyone else.
Thanks, Will.
You're welcome.
So yeah, you find yourself sort of flying in that direction. You see the camps of the 2 armies, which are now abandoned, but you ahead can see what appears to be an avatar of some sort. It's big. It's very big. It's green, but not sort of like natural green. It glows green, and it is standing there holding a great sword in sort of that centurion style. Has the sword down, and there are bodies lying on the floor around him. And there is someone there who appears to be having an argument or begging or something with him. And as you rush towards him, and as Zune rushes towards where she left Gavin, seeing only piles of corpses now and blood staining the outside of the sphere, there is suddenly a moment of absolute silence. All noise vanishes, and you slow very suddenly and are suddenly frozen in place and can't move, like nothing at all. Eyes, and you begin to suffocate as even your heart stops, everything. And ahead of you, just out of the corner of your eye, you can see him raise the sword and bring it down into the ground. And we're going to cut away from you guys there. As Gavin, you are currently back. You've made it back to the camp, sort of like running from these threats in the fog. And you carry Kazna, who has lost enough blood to lose consciousness at this point, and the camp is pretty much has been wiped out. You can see there are bodies everywhere. Some of the bodies seem to be horrifically disfigured and almost like they've been pickled, like really shriveled and gnarled. Others just look torn to ribbons, but there doesn't appear to be a single survivor here, other than yourself, who is now standing sort of in the center of the camp. You can see that at least one of these huge insectoid, white glistening creatures has been brought down on the edge of the camp, and it's come down, crushing people and tents. But other than that, all is eerily quiet, and the fog doesn't quite seem to reach into the camp. And that is where we find you.
Do I have my memory? Do I have any memory of what's happened in Limor?
I meant to say, did I say Gavin? I meant to say Gregor. You guys need to check. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
me.
I was like, but dude, do I totally have my guitar?
It's because what was it you became known as last time? Gavinicus.
The
Gavinicus.
Gavinicus.
And I can't break that association.
So, Gregor, you're totally carrying Kazna in a
Right, yeah, I'm
camp
like-
full of dead people.
Okay, so I've come to... Sorry, you're going to have to briefly describe
Yeah,
that. I was playing
so,
on my
yeah.
camera.
You find yourself sort of standing in the camp. You've left far behind you, Hope, the threats that threatened you before, and now stand holding an unconscious Kazna who has bled a lot. She was mauled by a vampire and has quite a bad wound sort of in her collarbone, which is just blood has saturated all of her clothing. You were standing on top of the hill in the center of the camp. There doesn't appear to be a single survivor. Some bodies look horribly sort of like almost pickled, like just shriveled and like their skin is cracking. Others just look like they've been torn to ribbons. One of these horrible insectoid creatures that came in from the fog has been brought down. It glistens white, not with dew. It's like almost pearl on its shell, like this chitin. And it is lying there slumped amongst what appears to be sort of a couple of tents and probably a half a dozen fighters who have just been killed by the sheer weight of this thing coming crashing down. But everything is eerily quiet. There is no noise. There is just the soft swirling of the fog that doesn't quite reach into the camp. And you are alone.
Great. Well, I carry Kazna. I'm like, all right, you and I better find somewhere to rest and try not to run into any more angel cocks, right? I will look for the nearest, safest looking piece of shelter.
The safest looking piece of shelter would appear to be the only one left partially standing is Tavian's main tent, his command tent, which the center has kind of fallen out of and is now sagging inwards. But it's still sort of a tent and is still up. It's like a big top.
Okay, then I will say, well, looks like this bastard's the only one that we're gonna be able to stay in. I say, I'm like, Gregor's doing the thing where he's the only character in a video game, and so he's saying everything out loud so that the player can understand what's going on. So yeah, he's gonna walk towards that tent.
I can probably jump and grab that ledge.
Yes.
To push over towards.
Looks like something's in my way.
Yeah. So you head over towards the tent. The tent has bodies around it, and there is sort of the smashed remains of the center pole. But other than that, sort of you can sort of push in, lift up the center, and find that there's no sleeping stuff in here. This was like a meeting room, but there are plenty of sort of provisions, all of which unfortunately are completely spoiled, thanks to something going wrong with the food here. And also there are plenty of sort of, there's like comfortable lounges, like chairs and stuff and sofas that you could camp down on, and sort of some other loosely sorted, lots of paperwork as well.
Yeah, that's it. I better stay quiet so no one will notice me. As I say, I'll sit Kazna down somewhere safe, somewhere I don't know where she can rest, and set to maybe starting some food. I'm not a physician, but I will give her a once over. just to make sure that she's not about to die.
Give me a medicine check.
Okay. This would be so much cooler if you're alive and awake. And his D20 plus 1, 15.
On a 15, you look her over. That's potentially a mortal wound. You realize that's cut into bone. That's torn. You can see as you look into the wound, like podgy fingers trying to dig in plate, trying carefully to sort of like have a look without actually prodding around inside. You can see what appears to almost be like bunches of muscle tendons that have sort of receded down as they've been torn and severed entirely. She has been mauled rather viciously, and she's lost a lot of blood. She's gone pale, almost translucently pale, and has a very weak pulse.
Fucking hell, oh, this is bad. Where's that Governor Gus when you need him? I will put pressure where I think it needs to go. Do I think, like, I guess in my assessment, is this one that she'd last a night? If she's...
You're not entirely sure. She's tough, but, I mean, she's had part of her throat ripped out.
Yeah, true. Okay, you stay here, Kazna. I'll go find some help. I can't carry around much more, and, although actually you are quite a good foil for me speaking out loud, but never mind. You stay here, look after yourself, don't let anyone come in and steal the food, and I'll come back with help as soon as possible. And I'll give her a little kiss on the forehead and then walk outside and go looking for help. Yes. One second, someone's knocking on my door. Cut for a sec. It might be Halloween. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Dudes, totally go grab your beers, because it is like totally beer o'clock. Cheers, dudes.
That's actually not a bad idea. I think we've got a couple of ciders in the fridge.
Totally time to drink a cold one. Oh, and dude, totally I'm calling Gliz Station. It was the second movie, but, you know, totally there.
And I'm back.
Kind of goblin, little inventor dude. Station.
All these fucking kids knocking on the door. Give him some candy and he'll fuck away. Whew. Yeah, there are a lot of French-only speaking children, and we're like, do you want...
Bonjour,
do
dudes!
you just want some fucking candy, maybe? And then you'll go away? Alright.
Tricketus or treatus?
Now we can't tell the PCs are dying. Yes, everything is red now. I'm pretty sure, by the way, Scraticus has donated a ghost Tarask for us, but which I'm fairly worried about out of character. But Gregor...
Wandering Silence is totally in the house, dudes. Yeah, I kind of buff. Totally, I worked out while I was in the time machine, dudes.
Oh, yeah.
And aged like 35 years, because I'm kind of supposed to be a teenager in high school. It's been a rough journey. It's been a rough March.
March Madness, yeah. Time travel comes with its own certain sets of difficulties, I'm sure.
Note to self, dudes. Time travel, it can be perilous. On ye old genes.
That's why you... I thought you meant your actual genes. Alright, looks like we're getting back to it, and I can find someone to fucking save Kazna. Kazna! Oh, it looks like you haven't moved at all. Some kids knocked on my door. I've gone out and made them fuck away, and now I'm back.
Don't take candies from those kids. Well, you can't trust them. They're strangers. You should never take candy from strangers.
Noted.
Noted. I can imagine you go to the door and be like, I don't have any candy. Do you have any healing potions? You see
that is totally sacrilege, Lorelania.
I know, I'm in so much trouble now.
She's putting my imported cider into a wine glass. It's just tearing me apart right now.
I was gonna put ice in here too.
Don't put ice in.
Scary.
That is
That is the scariest, probably the scariest thing that's happened all night.
Throw her in the Iron Maiden, dude.
All right, I'm back. So I'm off to find some help for Kazna.
So you head out, and you are standing sort of in camp. Where do you go?
Well, I'm at the command tent. There must be some kind of, I don't know, medical tents maybe. Where they might have kept some supplies.
Yeah, it takes you maybe 20 minutes or something to get, because you have to go through like tents that have been torn down, smashed apart. But you finally find a tent. Sort of, it's almost by chance. You're sort of going through, and you find that one of these guys does indeed have a healer's kit that hasn't been ruined. And you realize that actually sort of like you pieced it together from sort of one and then the next, and you find sort of bandages and needle and thread and a few other bits and piece together, because all of these guys had to be carrying healer's kits around the vampires in case they cut themselves. So you find plenty of sort of medical supplies, and it just takes you some time. You head back, and Kazna is growing very cold on the table, partially because it is quite cold here, but also she's in a bad way, and you are...
Well, I'll try my best. I got some bits and bobs that might be able to seal up the wound a wee bit. So I'll give it a go. I mean, I'll try my best to apply some of this the kits that I found around here.
Do you have proficiency with a healer's kit?
I have proficiency in the medicine skill.
Okay. In which case, yeah, just give me a roll on the medicine then.
All right. 11. That should actually be a 12.
Okay. On a 12, you do what you can. It's not great, but you do what you can, and the bleeding has you've taken care of the worst of it, but you can't undo. Like, you can't give her a blood transfusion, and
I don't even know what that is.
yeah. And other than that, you just sort of like grab some tear up that upholstery to sort of lay rags and cloth across her to keep her warm, as she doesn't look like she's going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, hopefully that'll live. I didn't see anyone else around here, did I?
No.
Everyone's fucking dead, so. I guess I could go out and see if I can find anyone, but it looked pretty fucking bleak out there, and got more odds of running into a vampire, I think, than run into anyone that's able to help. I'll go once more round. So, Gregor will try and have a shout, basically, and see if he can see anyone or hear anyone around.
You call out loudly, and sort of the fog just seems to swallow and distort the sound. And you stand there for what feels like hours, but it's probably just minutes of just calling out to see if anyone will respond.
Mm-hmm.
And just as you're about to head back in, you see a patch of darkness that is right on the edge of this camp. Vaguely humanoid, probably sort of crouched. Looks sort of like they're trying to hide, and they seem to maybe it's just a distortion of the fog, but it almost looks like they're frozen in place. So maybe it's just a bush or a scrub or something you hadn't noticed before.
Angel cock?
You call that out?
I'll say, excuse me, anybody there? Yeah, hello?
It moves and solidifies into a figure walking towards you, wearing quite heavy white clothing, like long cloth clothing. Seems to sort of be trying to hide themselves. the same way sort of everyone around here was wearing heavy drapes to cover their skin and anything at all that was magical. But moving towards you, head down, sort of picking their path through bodies and various other things to safety towards you. And comes to a stop. They're not particularly big. They're just almost child size, really. Looks almost like a refugee.
I'll look towards the kid. Hey kid, you know anything about healing? My name's Gregor Tuscan. Need your help, or if you've seen anyone around here. Eh? It is a boy, right? Because otherwise I start taking off my plate on.
You're not sure. I mean, it's androgynous, I think is the term. Yeah, you can't really tell under all the clothing, but you hear soft sobbing, and a voice says, "That wasn't always your name."
Excuse me. Pretty sure it was always Gregor Tuscan. Who are you?
Do you forget me so easily?
Oh, you're a little kid. Kind of odd looking. With a weird, creepy dead kid voice. I met a lot of you. Like you, remind me.
You told me you'd never met anyone like me. And the figure looks up. And it isn't a kid. They're just short. And it's a woman. And it's someone you recognize. And as you start to pay more attention, the clothing she's wearing isn't like rags. It isn't heavy clothing that sort of would cover you to sort of like out here. This is impractical clothing. It's fine clothing. It's a white dress. And the reason it's difficult to make out her face is because she has a veil that covers her. She's wearing a wedding dress.
That's a nice dress, I say, stepping backwards slowly. Yeah, starting to remember this now. Gotta go. See ya round.
Is she prettier than me?
Oh, that's a tough question right there. What is pretty, really? You know, what is in a name? I say, like, continually backing off. So, you know, I'll just see you around.
She starts to follow you as you sort of like begin to move away, like.
So, how have you been recently? Looking over my shoulder, seeing how like my escape route is looking like.
Yeah, she dead, mostly.
Mostly dead.
Yourself?
Good. That's, well, you know, reassuring to know in a way that there's a finality to all of that. What's keeping you around here?
I was sent to help you.
Help me? How?
You don't remember me, do you?
Oh, no, I've got a pretty good recollection. It's just, you know, kind of busy, a little bit stressed out at the moment. Got someone I need to look after.
I know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have to look after someone myself.
Right, yeah. Well,
Rash, foolhardy, Always looking for a fight.
He sounds like a nice guy. Not that you're necessarily talking about a guy. Maybe, you know, if you see anyone around here that might be able to help, a friend of mine, she's pretty injured.
She's turning.
Mm-hmm. Turning what? Sideways?
She was attacked by a creature. And there are consequences for being attacked by such creatures.
Such as turning into... Gotcha. That's, okay. Do you know what I can do about that? You know, is there a anti kind of serum I can give? Or maybe some, you know,
There is only one thing that we can give her, and that is the same choice we gave the others. She reaches sort of almost into her sleeves and she pulls out something. Looks like a quill. It is a long black feather. And she holds it out to you.
Okay. Take the feather.
You will have to do it for her.
Do you mind, you know, just making sure I got the right idea here? What exactly do I have to do? He like winces knowing what she's about to say.
You dip the feather in her blood.
Mm-hmm.
And you write on any surface near her that she promises to follow. She promises to obey. She promises to repent. And in exchange, she will regain her freedom when her time comes.
Right. Okay. So, not really anything else I can do about this, right?
You could leave her behind.
Don't think that will work out too well for me. I've already got one person coming back from the grave to try and kill me, so
I don't want you dead.
Oh, that's nice.
I never wanted you to go to war.
Hey.
But you made your choice.
I did, and here we are.
Now you have the same choice. You can abandon another love for the war that is to the south.
Yes, abandon's a strong word.
Or you can choose to change your ways.
Go on.
Make her happy. However that takes its form.
Right.
You owe somebody your heart. And if I can't have it, then it must be her.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, you know, I will take that into the you know, logistical algorithms in place here, and consider that. I'll just grab this feather in case I need it, and I guess I'll be seeing you around then.
She begins to step backwards, withdrawing, never actually lifting the veil from her face, as She heads back to the edge of the clearing, just staring at you. And the fog behind her shifts and clears. And for the briefest of moments, you see something move in the fog, something impossibly large. Something that towers over the creatures that you encountered before, that towers over anything you could comprehend. And it just for a moment, you see it shifting through the fog and seems to reach down. And from the size of this creature, you'd think there would be sort of the earth would tremble around it. But when it puts its foot down, there is not a single disturbance. And it puts one huge foot down directly on her, and you see a slight flicker as she vanishes, and the fog reclaims the image before you. And you were left standing there, holding a feather.
I am going fucking insane in this place. I look at Lefebvre to make sure it's real. Okay. Right. I'm losing it, Gregor. I go back to the main command tent.
You head back inside. She is lying there. She does not look good. Her pulse is next to non-existent. She is barely drawing breath. It's not in a good time.
So, Kazna, turns out, sorry about this, but you might be turning into a wee bit of a vampire. Which, you know, on the one hand, could be kind of hot. On the other hand, you got this whole blood-sucking thing going on, which is, a little bit weird, especially if you end up like those two fuckers back there. So, strange story, been visited by my ex-wife, who's now dead, who tells me that I can either leave you behind and abandon you, or stay here and write out in your own blood a promise that you will follow some sort of fucking rules. Either way, not really sure how this whole thing leaves the two of us, but, you know, I guess this is, I guess we can talk about that later. Here's the thing, if I leave you here, I think you might just fucking die. Or worse, to be honest, you might turn into one of those fuckers that we met back there. So I think I might... I don't know if I have much of a choice here, Kaz. Don't think I have much of a choice. If it were me, I think I'd want to keep on fighting, you know. And that's what you told me. That we'd keep on fighting together. And, well, if I leave you behind now, then... oh, you might not ever see each other again, then. And then my life has got no purpose either. So... however selfish this might seem, don't think I'm ready to let you go, Kaz. I'm sorry. And I take the feather and I dip it in her like there's blood-stained rags all around from where I've been trying to heal the wound. So I meant to write out some rules. So obviously, at least one trip to the pub is gonna be unnecessary. But I think it's more about not just killing everyone that you come across. So I write that one down. First of all, I'll see if I can draft up some kind of contract here that makes a wee bit of sense. And I'll try my best to write something which it seems like, I mean, you know, Gregor's pretty chaotic.
Official, sort
Yeah,
of.
it seems kind of official. It's in
You
the.
use long words, don't you? Hitherto, hence by something. Yes, So you begin to sort of write up as best you can, and you sort of sketch him on the table on which she lays, and you notice as you're writing, you have to keep sort of dabbing at the blood to keep dragging it across. And there are times Gregor realizes he's waffled on a little bit, and is almost sort of angrily stabbing this nib into the wood. But finally, you finish.
All right. Well, this seems good. I think. So I think when you wake up, in whatever state you're in, I should probably be here, to make sure you know what's going on. Ah, fuck. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, I got it. I've got it, Cass. When you wake up, okay, you'll be a fucking vampire. That means that people that you bite can be turned into vampires as well, right? That's got to be how it works. So, I can make sure that you're not alone in all of this. I got it. And and Gregor, whilst he's writing this, will like get the feather and it's like a sharp nib, right? He'll he'll shove it into his neck at a point, which will draw some blood. Oh! And I will copy out the same contract in my own hand on a different piece of parchment. Okay, and now as I finish that after another 20 minutes of writing, now I just need you to bite me.
You see that it's so damn cold here that her breath is fogging. You realize that she has been exhaling for quite some time, and it hangs just above her, this small cloud of fog, almost a little brighter than you'd expect, and watch as it seems to tinge and shimmer and slowly blacken. And then you watch as the writing on the table where you wrote her contract, all of the blood draws itself where it's soaked into the table out into droplets, and the droplets rearrange. And the words "Hope returns" appear beside her. And Kazna opens eyes as black as obsidian. And that is where we're going to leave you guys for just seconds. We have a goblin, Gliz. Gliz, you wake up in a camp.
Thanks for the host, Crit Dice. I appreciate it, man.
It is blisteringly bright. It is uncomfortably bright, and there is someone smashing a pot with something metal right next to you. Sort of walking around, he just passes you, bang, 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 and comes to a stop. And you can hear the sound of movement. You can hear the sound of what sounds like a fight breaking out almost instantaneously. And someone sits up next to you, rubbing his head and just, why does he have to be so fucking loud every morning? Please, you up.
This is something that I've experienced before, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Gliz at this point wouldn't even respond.
He looks to you. Gliz, are you alright, mate?
Do I know? Gliz would know the person next. I'm assuming this is most of my tribe.
This is Gnarly. Gnarly.
Gnarly.
Gnarly is a goblin like you. He's a solid fighter. He's not the smartest. He's quite reckless in fighting, but he's been around for a bloody long time. He's sort of been around with you since the beginning, since the revolt, and he like he just heavily scarred. Not the strongest, not the quickest, but against all the odds, he always seems to make it through. Other than recently, shall we say? Just looks at you. Oh, big day, Gliz.
You know, Gnarly. Gliz kind of looks over at Gnarly. You know, I've always liked you, Gnarly. I have.
Oh, thanks, boss.
You have my personal permission today to go beat that glob over the head with a stick. And you'd pat glob on or Gnarly on the back, and Gliz would get up and start walking away. I'm outside of the city at this point.
Yeah, you're in a camp. As you step outside, you see that there are a bunch of guys who are sort of in the process of putting on leather armor. The leather armor is stylized. It's rough, and it has plenty of crimson detailing, which you would know is sort of they stain with red blood, with tree ochre, anything they can to match their red skin and sharp teeth. And these guys are tieflings. Some of them. Others, the ones who are sort of being left to their own devices, are fiend-touched, mutated tieflings who are twisted beyond recognition, but generally have a lot of violence in them, but are good fighters. They're just not really socialized within the camp. But yeah, you see this tiefling walking around. He's just slamming into this pot over and over and over again. And he sort of looks around, sees Gnarly, and he just looks at Gnarly. So you're finally up. Well, now that you're up, you can see it. And Gnarly just jumps the guy, like, I've had enough! Grabs him, punches him to the floor. And you see like a bit of a scuffle break out. A couple of people sort of like gather around. At first it looks like they're going to tear him off. And then you see like one of them pulls Gnarly off and then starts punching this poor bastard who's the in charge of the wake-up call. It gets very violent very quickly. And the guy is pretty bloodied and beaten, but still conscious as he's dragged to his feet. And a fiend touch walks in with a huge arm, lifts him out of the melee and just snarls at everyone. This guy has a huge, like, utterly distorted arm. He has spikes that start just like on his forehead that run all the way down his back, getting gradually bigger and bigger. And they have like razor sharp edges to him. And he just snarls with no sort of sensitive understanding at everyone, a challenge. And people back off. And you are once again where you find yourself most days, which is the fiend-touched camp. It's where your company was stationed just before the event.
Gliz, every time he wakes up here, he's parched with thirst. The night before, he was drinking with him and his Gabo tribe and buddies. So he's always thirsty when he wakes up. It's more irritating and more ritual at this point. He goes over and he gets some water. And he begins, without yet even saying, normally on a day like this, about 7 years ago, he would probably talk to most of his tribe members, probably some of his council, if you will, and just doesn't even bother anymore. At this point, he just gets his drink to quench his thirst for the day, and he begins looking for his direwolf construct, which he rides.
It comes running sort of in to the camp, and people freak the fuck out because this didn't exist before you started your long purgatory here, and none of them have any idea what it is. So you see them sort of like come up and sort of, you see one guy basically like he draws a crossbow, and as he's turning, the direwolf just shoulder checks him. This thing knows this place like the back of his hand. It knows the morning ritual. It knows exactly when to duck its shoulder. And a couple of bolts come in. It just moves easily out of the way, comes to a stop next to you, and people just sort of like looking at you, sheer terror in their eyes, as this thing is huge in comparison to goblins. Like, it's massive. The fiend touched sort of back up slightly. What does your direwolf look like? Because we saw it briefly tear the absolute ever-living fuck out of someone.
The best way I can describe it, I'll put a picture in here.
Because it's like a steampunky sort of...
Right, it's like a it looks a little bit like this. I'll put it in stream chat for you guys. It looks like that, except mechanical in every way. And Glitz kind of gets on top of it, and he kind of looks around. He's done explaining to these people 100 times before this. He's already explained it to these people. They never remember anyway. He just kind of shrugs his shoulders and yawns, and kind of checks one of his pocket watches that he's made. He's just waiting for the assault to begin at this point. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you've got time. You know, you've got like a couple of hours even to get into town, to set up your lab, to bunker in before any real fighting starts. So yeah,
Glizz would know a way into town at this point. Without having. Yeah, sure. Glizz, that's the first thing Glizz would do. Not even saying goodbye to some of his comrades, because he knows that tomorrow it's just going to restart. They're not going to remember a damn thing.
So you see the looks of like people as you begin to stride out of camp, and you hear a mixture of sort of like confused conversation as you pass. Where's he going? Is he going in alone? Are we starting the fight now? And sort of confusion. Other people yelling that you're a traitor, a coward, that you're a turncoat.
Glitz would look back if he saw any of his comrades, any of his goblin comrades, would say, not to worry, everything's all right, yes.
They look sort of reassured but confused, and
are there any tiefling like fiend touched commanders, anything of import around
this camp is led by Hammerhand.
Glizz's head's pounding. He's hungover.
Yeah,
he doesn't usually have time for this in the morning, and he kind of looks over and he points to some of his tribesmen and troops, and he goes, "Doomhand, was it? Or what was
Hammerhand.
Hammerhand." He goes, "All right, boys, Hammerhand over here. He's got everything under control. Chieftain Thunderwarg will be back. Glizz, that's what they call me, Chieftain Thunderwarg. I will be back in due time. Look for me at the assault. Fear not. Yes. And he would begin trudging off towards the city to his lab that he's set up.
You sort of head off, and there's confusion, and you hear sort of like cries out, even as sort of like you've given the orders. People still call out to you as you leave, but the morning ritual begins. You see as you're walking along, your wolf just pauses for a moment to allow a stampede of a few deer that are pretty much the only. So there's some animals here, but there's not a lot. Sort of thunder past the track, and then it sort of takes a path and follows their trail, going in the opposite direction. And behind you, you hear a couple of soldiers clank past, just following the morning patrol that you know and you've seen 100 times over. And you get to the point where you stop just outside the gate, having perfectly matched your movements to avoid the archers. And your wolf bites down into the edge of a very small exposed sewer grate and just pulls it back. And as he pulls it back, he drags it through the ground, sort of like creating a small trench that leads to the sewers. And the sewers lead down to, underneath the mayor's main hall, the town hall, there is a lab which is easily appropriated. It's where you do all of your work, and you know that it locks from the inside, and the mayor isn't there today. So you head down without a problem, and you make your way through the sewers to your lab, and easily just locking it from the outside. In about an hour's time, the mayor will try and come down here, realize it's been locked from the inside, and try to investigate, but won't make it in time before the assault. And you return to his lab, which is now your lab, having sort of taken it. There are some things here that aren't the mayor's, things that you've made over the years in your exile, that like the many clocks that are sort of ticking in the room, that somehow don't seem to be affected. They remain even after your reset each day. But yeah, you enter your lab, and everything is pretty much exactly as you'd expect it to be.
Yeah, walk down into the lab. Gliz would take a good look around, tell the direwarg to sit down, and just command the direwarg sits anywhere, I suppose. Still rubbing his pounding head, sit down at a chair, and recall what happened the day before. And he recalls the wizard, who seemingly Gliz has been here for about 7 years, and he seemingly recalls a wizard showing up about 3 years ago. And starts to think, now he did bring for the first time 2 newcomers, and he thought about them. I shouldn't have tried to done that. They could have maybe helped. He says to himself, fuck it, I'm getting drunk today. And so he goes over to a shelf, and he pulls out one of his many stored bottles of alcohol that are down here. Not exactly a drinking alcohol, but it still does the job.
Industrial clean, like solvent.
Right. It's basically just something that's just, it has alcohol in it, and he's gonna get drunk. He's a goblin, doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So you pour yourself you pour imported paint thinner into a wine glass, and
I got that reference.
It's sacrilegious, but you do it anyway. You've had a bad day, okay? You sort of, everything is as you would imagine, but you hear banging earlier than you'd expect. Much earlier than you expect. And I mean, you are surrounded by clocks, and all of them are I imagine like all of the clocks are set to like a certain event, so you just have everything mapped out. This doesn't match anything.
Yeah, Gliz has lists of names, and he's been here for 7 years, so he's interacted with almost every person on both sides of the battle. He's got their names, where they've been, and he looks at some of his. He's been down here for so many times, and where does the knock come from?
It comes from the hatch. It appears the mayor is early, which never happens. Never happened once.
He looks over to the door, or the hatch, right?
Yeah, the hatch
He looks over to the hatch, and he pulls out of a pouch he has at his side a couple of arcane magazines, and he loads one into his arm, his hand cannon arm. And he puts on his helmet that he usually adorns, and he walks up to the hatch.
As you get to the ladder to start climbing, there is a sudden snap. And if you look up, you see that the lock's from the inside, has just unlocked itself.
Thank you, Evan.
It's interesting. Gliz is going to take a step back here. He's going to go back into the lab. Kind of curious to see who's going to come down, but doesn't want to be seen quite yet. As he walks back into the lab, he's going to motion to the direwolf to try to hide itself as best it can in a corner.
Okay, you sort of step back. The direwolf sort of slinks back into one of the many tunnels that lead out of this room into the sewer network, and nat 20 for Zune and 2 heals.
Thank you, Evan.
Yay! Oh, Irvin, ain't you lovely? So, I'm just waiting for the terror to come. You sort of retreat back, and you hear the groaning sound of the hatch being opened up, and you hear voices. It sounds like an argument that is breaking out, and the voices are familiar. One of them is the mayor, most definitely, and he sounds pretty ticked off, but it doesn't sound nearly as angry as the other person you can hear, which is Deradu, who is the wizard, who is ranting and raving and swearing profusely. And the mayor begins to gingerly sort of like come down into his workshop, and he glances over his shoulder. Are you hiding, or are you just sort of standing there?
I would be around the corner. As soon as I hear Daraduin's voice, I'd be hiding around a corner, but I'd be having my arm kind of loaded, getting ready to shoot at anyone that comes around the corner. But as soon as I hear Daraduin's voice, God, not this asshole again.
And
Daradun, he'd yell out.
there's sort of absolute silence suddenly falls, and then you hear the mayor go, "Who the hell is down here?"
Oh, wouldn't you like to know, Mr. Mayor? Come on down.
You hear the rungs of the ladder and then the sound of foot on stone, and you watch as sort of like his like eyes haven't adjusted to the dark, and he's sort of peering around, and there is just the only sound that you can really hear is the ticking all around, and the mayor, Mayor Julius Hacknell, steps out. He's a human. He's quite finely dressed, actually. His clothing is pretty plain by all standards. It's made of hide, but it's studded with colourful stones across the shoulders. And he sort of looks around, sort of peering, just says, "What the hell is all this? What are all these things?" And he goes over and begins to sort of try and tamper with one of the clocks, seeing all the cogs moving and fine pieces. And you hear Deradu sort of descending as well.
I would ignore the mayor as he walks by me, and I
Completely
Daradun?
misses you.
I turn around, I look around the corner. I go, Daradun, what are you up to now? This isn't one of your experiments, is it? You're not going to murder the mayor inside the lab to see how much guts can go flying, are you?
The mayor just turns and he draws a blade from within his walking cane. It is nothing more than sort of a very short blade, but he holds it out, sort of like quivering. Not so much that he can fight, but he looks more sort of. He can't quite make you out as you're standing in the shadow.
Calm down, Pinky. I don't mean you any harm. Just relax.
Sort of looks to you and...
What are you doing down here with Daradun? Daradun, what are you doing down here?
Deradu finally...
Dune. It's too early in the morning for this crap.
Deradu steps around the corner, and you see that he is badly injured. He has blood soaking his robes. Which you can tell he's repaired, but they haven't, they still have stains of blood. And he just sort of looks absolutely torn to pieces. He has wounds that are still they've been bandaged, but they've been bandaged badly. And he comes around looking furiously angry at you.
Jeez, Daradun. The good old Magritte over there. That's the name of his dire wolf. The good old Magritte over there hold you down a little too long this time.
Looks at you and just... Do you have any idea what you've done?
Not really, since for the past 3 years you've been, kind of parading me and my people around as exhibits for your own experiments. You don't mean to tell me that I've actually got you this time, did I? Come on, Daradun. I thought higher of you than that.
He brings his staff slamming down into the floor, and there's a pulse of energy that goes out. It stops all of the clocks. They sort of skip a couple of seconds and then resume ticking. The mayor is knocked backwards by it and sort of stumbles into a workbench, sort of cutting himself on a myriad of tiny little hands for clocks and cogs, and looks just pretty absolutely fucking terrified. And Deradu looks at you and says, "I can't leave."
Well, that's curious anyway. You can't leave, but you're wounded. Were you wounded at the start of the reset? What happened? Well, first of all, come over here. Come over here, Daradun. I can heal some of your wounds. Come here.
He takes a step towards you, still looking very much spoiled for a fight, but he doesn't actually strike you. And he peels back sort of his robes, and you see he's mended the fabric, no problem, but he does not have any magic to heal. And he's picked up many wounds, scars. It's been trial and error for him. But at the same time, you've nicked him a few times, but this time he is bloody and he has not done a particularly good job of bandaging this up, and he's here.
All right, sweet cheeks. Tell me where it hurts the worst, and while Nurse Gliz over here is taking care of you, tell me what the big bad Margaret did to you, and why you can't leave.
He points to what looked to be a set of like the front teeth have just raked across his chest, and you can see there's like a really like the puncture wounds near his chest are bad, and then it's just dragged out. And he has some he needs stitches, he needs sort of rebandaging, a whole load of other stuff, unless you are using magic, in which case he needs some magic.
Gliz is going to reach out while he's talking. I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at level 2 for him.
Okay.
I'm going to touch the most wounded part of his body and Cure Wounds at level 2.
You watch as sort of like the wounds begin to seal. They're still angry red marks, sort of the edges of, as the wounds close, they squeeze out that line of blood that then trickles down fresh, but the wounds themselves close over. The skin around it still looks torn and red and very, very irritated, and it sort of mimics him because he also looks very irritated. His hands are all cut up, probably from sort of wrestling with Meredith, who's not is it Mac? No, not Meredith. Magret, sorry. Magret, who isn't like sleek and smooth. Magret has like bits poking off her, metal bits that are sharp and not meant to sort of be touched, and he's sort of grabbed hold of bits trying to push her off, and he looks at you coldly and says, "I can't leave."
Well, neither can I. How convenient. Consider this being even for all the times you've blown my head off and mercilessly tortured and killed my people right before my eyes. I think we could say we're even about now. Does that feel better, by the way?
If I can't leave, then I can't continue my research.
Your research? 3 years. 3 years, Daredun. I've been down in this damn place since you showed up. I've been here for 7 years. Do you know what that's like, Daredun?
If I can't leave, I can't bring anyone else here. Where are the others? Have you seen them?
He pulls out a clock from the back pocket. It's ticking in his face. He goes, I haven't seen them. Normal as usual until you and the mayor showed up. Speaking of which, why did you bring him down here?
He lives here.
Now we either have to kill the poor guy or at least string him up. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to interact with the time loop, but...
The mayor just looks so lost. He's slowly just allowed, like probably from the weight of it, just giving him like a dead arm. He's lowered his blade, so now it just hangs by his side. And he looks a mixture of sort of perplexed, scared, and angry, sort of shifting through the motions. And Derudu says, if I can't leave, that means if anyone else shows up, I can't bring them in. I can't warn them. It means that I can't continue the work I've been doing. And yes, maybe it has been slow, but there is nobody else out there who is trying to help you.
You do have a point there, dude. However, you were playing with fire here. I have to tell you that. It's not as if you and I had this conversation 100 times over. You might get trapped. You pissed me off a few many times. And look, I have to do what's best for the people and the tribe. And I'm going to be honest with you here, Dare, dude. You literally just brought 2 people down here trying to market this thing as if an auction. And me, or the rest of the people I'm with here, we're not an auction.
They were investors who represented massive fortunes that could be spent on equipment that could help me break this cycle. And you, in your fucking short-sightedness, have ruined any chance I have at interacting with them further if they have made it outside. And if they haven't, and he pulls back his robe, I have not returned as you do. I am still wounded from before the reset. There is a chance they were killed yesterday, and if they were killed, there is a chance they will never return.
This is an interesting turn of events. Did Orcus show up as scheduled?
Orax showed up.
Orax.
Yeah, yes.
Forgive me, not Orcus.
Did
Demon
Orcus
Lord, no!
show- Yeah.
Orax. Sorry, wrong name. Did Orax show up as scheduled?
He nods. Yes, he was on the meeting point as usual, and as usual, people groveled for an audience or forgiveness or whatever it is they do now, and I tried to make it to him. Once I realized I couldn't leave.
Gliz kind of wrinkles his nose and narrows his eyes. He starts to waddle over towards the mayor and like pushes the mayor out of the way and pulls up
He
some
stumbles.
notes, starts scribbling some notes down. He starts scribbling some notes down with on some special parchment he's crafted in a pen that he knows that'll kind of remain as one of his notes that'll be there the next day. Very interesting, very interesting. I'm making notes of all of this.
You draw what is essentially a small crystal, tiny little trapped, broken away piece of a much more powerful object. And as you do, it sort of burns the page, and you know that it will remain. You can mark things with this nib, this pen, and it will remain for tomorrow. Which is why there are notes all over the wall that sort of have stayed with you. And he comes over and sort of like, you see, despite himself, Derridu sort of looking for it, he sort of shuffles through some notes. He sees something. It's just a list of profanities with his name sort of like stamped into the paper, and he sort of chuckles about, oh yes, I froze you into a block of ice and pushed you off a cliff.
Yes,
that was a good one.
You did. You got me good that time. Yeah. All right.
Despite it all, he's sort of like, do you remember the time? Like, wasn't it good? Yeah.
That's interesting. So this time, Margaret got you, and you didn't get out in time, and you didn't reset?
No.
Interesting.
And neither did the others. I saw one of
The
them
others?
flying. Yes, the other two.
other-
I saw one of them flying through the air, and the other one, I've no idea where he is.
Perhaps we should go find them. Maybe they're
Yes.
still within, yes.
The problem is I don't know where they'll be. They've never been here before. So if they reset, then where do they reset to? They started today outside the sphere.
An interesting conundrum. We've never had anyone enter the sphere before, have we? And remained here? No. I don't believe we have, that we know of anyway.
Shrugs and a few flights of birds, I think. But other than that,
The birds usually die and fry, don't they? Yeah. Well, this is most interesting. I believe I'll bring some of my parchment with, and I'll take notes as we go. But I'm going to find them. Derridu, you can... Mr. Mayor, try not to touch anything. I know it's very hard for you. This is all very confusing, but let's see what time it is. Your city's about to be under attack. The two armies outside have made a pact. They're going to enter. You might want to barricade your doors or whatever it is happens to you during this time. But please, Mr. Mayor, you might want to get someplace safe.
the mayor just turns to you and you hear a click as he does, and sort of he's holding something in his hand. And he looks at you and sort of, what the hell are you talking about? What is going on here? And you notice that in his hand he is holding what appears to be the pin for something. And Derridu just, oh, for fuck's sake. And a shield of shimmering energy appears, cutting the room in half, and there is an almighty explosion on the other side, which promptly the shield drops and there is blood everywhere. Your clocks have been destroyed in places, and he just...
My baby! No! What did you bring him down here for, you idiot? Runs over. He's on his hands and knees, crawling on the floor. Where? Looking for bits and pieces.
He just walks over, like grabs Gliz by like the belt and just starts like trying to drag him. He's not particularly strong at all, but he's just trying to drag Gliz towards the ladder. And so where exactly are we going to start? In town with the Fiend touched, or with the Alliance?
Magritte? Was Magritte on the other side?
Magritte is absolutely fine. Magritte is on your side, yes.
Thank you. Okay. Magritte, we're going to have to go for a ride now. So we're going to go, can you fit up that hole? That ladder there in that hole?
She looks up, looks at you, no expression, but you can sense the confusion, and then just launches up and digs claws into sort of the stone, like tearing her way up, and the door was never shut, and you hear her vanish and screams of fucking terror as she tears her way out into the mayoral building. Just upstairs, you hear crossbows being discharged, clattering of arrows, and people running. There is Deradu just after you.
Well, I'm going to ride her, and there's a room enough for both of us, but seeing as how you can be injured, I'm not sure if you want to take the same path that I do.
He vanishes entirely. I'll just follow at a distance.
That would be an invisibility spell, would it not? Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Very good. Very smart. Okay. Away we go then. And he would then climb up the ladder and take a look around because he was hearing crossbows and screams.
Indeed. As you climb up to the top, you see that Magritte has basically just torn out into what is like a storeroom, burst through the door and come out into like the main hall area. She's on the ground floor. There are people up on the balcony who are just firing crossbows down at her, which are just pinging off as she's just scooting around the floor. These guys were not ready at all for sudden direwolf in the room. And most of them are fleeing in panic out the doors, leaving the city hall building quite quiet.
Gliz would just get on top of Magritte then, and he would know the way out of the building, so he would head that way, out the front doors. Informing Magritte to break down any doors in the way, because what does it matter?
Exactly. It's not like you have to pay for damages. You smash through the double doors, which literally like shear off their hinges, and you come straight out to the street where people scatter in fear. You hear like the air beside you just panting heavily. Just, will you tell her to slow down? For goodness sake, I'm on foot, remember?
Right, of course. Magritte, slow down. We've got someone that's walking.
And Magritte does what she is bid. Where are we going to look first? I know one of them was heading towards the meeting point, and the other one was trying to go out the way they came in.
Well, if they got stuck, which way did you point them to?
He points, and
which way did you put the one that was heading on the way out? Where did that one go? And which one was it? Was it the very tall pinky, or was it the?
No, there was someone. There was someone flying, and then there was the drow over there who was also flying. I presume it's them. He didn't quite look right.
And how exactly were they flying, Derridun?
You see, like, there's just silence, like this. You can't see anything. He's like, see, like.
Oh, you.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Which way are we going? Come on. I can't even see which way you're going at this point. Give me an end of the road.
Just go forward.
Okay, fine. Go forward, Magritte. Go.
And people just flee out of the way as Magritte just takes off down the road. Sort of, you can see there's what appears to be sort of like a commotion around the edge of the bubble, just on sort of like past the outskirts of town, just outside the wall. Sort of the gates have been opened, and something like there's a big crowd moving inwards who promptly sort of like begin to sort of like drop things, and you see the front guys drawing swords, and Magrid slows ever so slightly, presented with a threat. And you just maybe don't try and kill everybody. That would be wonderful.
I was thinking the same. Let me take this. Ladies and gentlemen of Lymore, I come to you to let you know that in he looks at his clock. How long until the armies will invade?
The army probably a couple of hours still before the initial siege begins.
According to my clock here, in a couple of hours, the two armies outside, if you may or may not have noticed, I'm sure your spies and your watchtower guards are already telling you that the men outside are beginning, and the tieflings are beginning to collude with one another, and they will take the city in a joint effort, and upon entering, they will slaughter you and each other very promptly. So, I'm going to have to ask you to give me a wide berth, as I'm the only one and my invisible compatriot here that could potentially save you. So please, get out the way. He make like some sort of performance.
Give me a performance check.
Yeah, sure. Oh, he's not very. Oh god, he's not very good with performance.
That's kind of a shame, because it's a 2, but it's not a 2. It's a nat 1. As these guys just look at you like the mad mental case that you are, and roll me some initiative, please.
Oh god. Okay.
I believe in you.
I believe.
Oh wait, it's Halloween and there's a ghost to ask. No, I don't.
Everything.
Wait, what did you just say?
Nothing.
Did I just hear the T word?
Like ghost harassed.
Twitch TOS, take him down.
Yeah, I think there was a ghost Tarask here somewhere.
I mean, it may have been the thing that fucking took away my wife, to be honest.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
The giant thing that stepped on your wife. Yeah.
Right?
That's fucked up. And fitting, but fucked up.
Yeah.
So, I've got Magriff. Don't worry about that. Let's just see. The mob of guys roll a nat 1. Absolutely wonderful.
How many are in this mob looking to attack me, by the way?
There's 8 of them in total. Only 4 of them look ready to fight. The other guys are like carrying something.
Okay.
So we've got the mob. We have Gliz. Your wolf will just act on your turn as it is a construct and does whatever. And you hear Derridu just going, I'm not getting involved in this one. I might die. And as I can't do anything anymore, and they're coming at us. And it is your turn first.
Good God. All right, how close are they to me right now?
About 30 feet in front of you, coming down sort of like, think of like a Western-style street with shops and buildings on either side. You know the tavern is just to your left, and they are in front of you.
4 of them coming at me?
Yeah, there's 4 of them coming at you.
Are they well armed? Are they well armed? Are they town guard?
They're relatively well armed. You know that most of the guys in Lymore are. They've been stockpiling arms for a long time. Their town guard is pretty well trained. They're not to be messed around with. However, you have fought almost every single person here, and you know how all of them fight, all of them move. Sometimes
Right.
you fought against them, sometimes with them. So
I
that's
probably
going
know some of their names.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are they? Would Gliz know if these are good fighters, strong fighters?
They're not the strongest. They're more sort of scouts, to be completely honest. Have probably been sent out to fetch something.
Sure. What Gliz is going to do on his turn is he's going to fire good old Deliverance, his arm cannon, at as a warning shot. He's going to say, I don't want to fight you boys, but all right, if you insist. And he's going to fire a warning shot at the closest one. At
Are you
their
trying
head.
to hit him?
Yeah, I'm trying to hit him.
On a 21, yeah. Hits most definitely.
And that's 12 piercing plus 20.
Jesus. Yeah, so describe how this guy dies.
I aim for his head and I shoot. A bullet comes out and it's accompanied with an electric bullet. Basically, comes out of my hand cannon and shoots this guy in the head.
So you fire forward, and there's like the just sudden flash of light that comes with it, and it actually for a split, like it looks like his head has been knocked off and just carries on, as basically this bolt of sort of sizzling energy, just in a perfect sphere. It looks like it's basically been knocked his head off, taking it, and just continues down the street and impacts with a wall, sort of the edge of the gate, far down the street. And give me an intimidation check as you are trying to avoid a fight, and you have just instantly murdered one of their guys. You make them angry. You make them very angry.
And as another thing, on my warg's turn, my construct's turn, I'll shout another warning. If anyone gets close, good old Wolfie here is gonna tear you to bits. And I'll have my direwolf hold action. If anyone gets close, she'll make a bite attack. Let me just make sure that's all she can do. Yeah, she'll make a bite attack.
Okay. So
first person. If anyone comes close enough to us, she'll make a bite attack at the closest person. So I stand my ground.
These guys are most definitely going to rush you, seeming more antagonized than frightened. And first one, 12. Wolf doesn't quite make it, as sort of like tries to bite into this guy. He manages to just sort of hurl himself to one side, roll to his feet. And two of them are going to start dealing with the wolf, which is huge and in front of them and quite clearly a problem. The other one is coming for you. So it is, does a nat 20 hit you?
Oh, of course it does.
So this guy comes at you with a battle axe. Not a battle axe, what are they called? A great axe. He comes at you with a great axe, swinging in for, minimum damage for 5 damage. It would have been like a massive blow, but sort of like you remember that he favors sort of like coming in, and he does like a feint where he actually there's 2 damage dice there, which is
does my direwolf get an action against any of these guys as they come in?
He missed. He rolled a 12. Tried to bite the first guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
So actually, that's not a 5. That is 5 plus. That's 16 damage. So probably would have been a killing blow. But he goes for this sort of like signature. He goes to swing up and then pendulums under, and you just remember like that it's the feint, like categorize, like going through your head through all your mental notes, like it's oh. Yes, it's him, and he just swings up, and you manage to sort of move yourself back as it glances sort of upwards, carving through your arm, sort of tearing flesh, but not killing you outright. And that is his turn. The other two are going to try and carve up your old Wolfie, I'm afraid. So it'll be 1, which is a miss, 2, which is a hit. And these guys are going to attack him. They are using swords for 8 plus 3. So they one of them just misses outright. But as he sort of turns, your wolf sort of exposes itself ever so slightly, and he brings down a vicious swipe into its flank. And instead of blood, there is sudden ruptured steam that sort of blasts into this guy's face. He staggers backwards, like fucking confused as to what this is that he's fighting. As you see sort of like part of the wolf sort of judders as the pressure drops in a certain area. And it is, on that note, Zune, would you like to run me some initiative as you wake up to the sounds of battle and find yourself hanging?
I'll use my nat 20.
Okay, you were going first, abso-fucking-lutely. So let me just zoom. Going up top for
Not that I don't think it would be fun to die in a time bubble where I could potentially come back and all the magical properties that could ensue, but
it could get old pretty quick.
Yeah,
I'd have to ask somebody who's experienced it before.
indeed. So you were sort of hanging there. You have someone holding each wrist and someone holding each ankle. You are sort of being carried in, sort of down a street, but suddenly you feel yourself sway as these individuals try to run off the street carrying their claim into a building. And there was a fight going on. These guys carrying you don't look particularly tough. They look to be wearing simple leather armor and carry bows.
Did I wake up in the time lapse and they were suddenly grabbing me? The last thing I remember, I was in the church area. Okay, do I have any recollection of the previous time?
All you remember is you were flying towards where you left Gavin, and then there was a brilliant burst of green. And then you woke up, and you are being carried by a couple of individuals who are sort of now trying to rush you off the street.
I misty step away from them.
Okay, so they all fall over as they are carrying a really heavy weight. Well, not really heavy, you're mostly bone, but they're carrying a considerable weight that is noticeable, and suddenly it's not there anymore, and they all sort of stagger. One of them falls and just bounces off the side of the building. The others fall prone in the street and are covered in mud. And where are you? Are you in the street? Are you in the building?
I would have gone atop of a building that's not on fire, I guess, and looking down and been like, fools, what are you doing?
You look down at Limor. Limor is not on fire at all. Limor is entirely fine. It's a really nice town. It's kind of quaint and slightly village-like, but it's built up. It's quite clearly was a village and is sort of built up into like a proper town. It's increased it. You can see like the central buildings are really old and rustic, but have had like stone cladding attached and tiles and sort of been modernized a little bit. The outer buildings are more modern, and the wall is really, really well fortified that rings around the entire town. And that is the building you were standing on top of. The building you're looking at across the street is a tavern that you know was about to catch a blaze last time you saw it. It is daylight. There is a fight. There is a mechanical wolf fighting a bunch of people with someone riding it.
I don't know who it is.
You do.
I don't remember any of.
No,
I remember.
do.
Okay.
You do.
I look down. I'm so confused right now. I don't have any blasting spells prepared. I'm gonna try to run and hide.
Cool. So, what do you give me a stealth check just to vanish sort of on the rooftop?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, on a nat one, you sort of like you're confused. You appear, you look, you turn, and as you turn, you put your foot down, and the tiles you're standing on, sort of on the edge, one of them just falls out, slips, and you just like have that moment of like when you're just too far back, like when you lean back on your chair.
And you're like, oh, fuck.
Like your heart lurches, your stomach turns, and you like grasp at nothing, and you fall into the street. You're going to take a little bit of damage for falling sort of off a building. You slam into the ground for 4 bludgeoning damage, and you are now prone.
Sorry, say again?
You take 4 bludgeoning damage, and you are now prone in the street. You were amongst the other people who have also fallen prone, who were just carrying you a second ago.
Well, fuck.
That's gonna be your turn. As we have Gliz. Gliz, you see Zune materialize on a rooftop, just in front of you and up to the right. She's there for all of sort of 3 seconds when she suddenly looks down, looks around confused. She turns to try and sort of walk further onto the roof, and a tile beneath her foot gives out, and she slips and falls back. The 4 people who were carrying her have all fallen over, sort of as she vanished, and she lands amongst them, prone, quite winded, as all the other guys are like lying slumped around her, where they're carrying a guy a body 1 second, and the next second it is vanished entirely. You still have a guy in front of you with a great axe. How do you proceed?
Yeah, there's only one guy in front of me now?
The other 2 are fighting your wolf, just sort of like in front of you, but the wolf's between you and them.
Okay, so I've dismounted my wolf then, is what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is wolf goes after me. I'm just gonna blow this guy's head off, I think.
Very casual.
Sure.
Yeah. Hold on 1 sec. I need to make sure bonus action stuff here I can do. Yeah, sure. We'll blast the guy's head off. Sure, why not? Actually, as a bonus, can I use my bonus action first, or is that after I use my action?
You can use bonus action first, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to enchant my weapon that I have on with magic weapon.
Okay.
That gives me a +1 to hit and a +1 to damage, I believe.
It
Weapon
does.
damage with magic with +1 bonus attack rolls on damage rolls. Okay. And I'm going to magic weapon my arm cannon and fire.
Okay.
It's a 15.
It's not. It's a nat 20, as you have fought everyone in town for 7 years
Zillion
straight.
times.
You know how every single one of these guys move, and you get caught off guard for a split second, but suddenly... Tell me how you end the... this guy here is he's one of the smiths in town. He's not...
Do I know him by name?
You know that you're pretty sure it begins with a D something. It's like
Derek. I tried telling you, and then boom, just like blast him in the head.
You shoot through him, and behind him you see one of the other guys literally sort of like he's climbed on to the back of your wolf, and he's raising his sword to sort of drive it down, and then suddenly he's holding half a sword as you also shoot through his head and blow the bottom, like snap his sword in 2, and he just falls off your wolf. And there is now one threat left, who is now 1v1ing a mechanical direwolf.
Yeah. Magritt's going to attack the guy that's left.
Okay.
20 +5, I believe.
And somehow still, like, he runs. He just starts running. He literally, like, that's it. She comes into, like, and he just, like, falls, rolls backwards, comes up, staggers into a building, and just flees as fast as he can.
Oh, I was going to say that should be an advantage because of pack tactics, but it's not a big deal. He ran away. Doesn't matter.
And you are sort of standing there. You can see in the distance there is Zoom. You still have movement.
Oh, I'm going to get on top of the warg. And,
you hop on?
Yeah, get on top. And where's I guess I'd shout out, Daredun, is that one of them? Assuming, because it's a drow that doesn't seem to belong. I haven't seen her.
You just hear the air just, I'm pretty sure that's the one of the only drow in town at the moment.
I'm assuming I hear this as well.
Yeah, as you sort of impact the ground, lying there, winded.
And she was being carried by 2 people, and she kind of misty step away and fell off the roof, basically.
There's four of them. They are sort of look like they're rangers, carry bows. They've all fought. She's lying amongst them. They're all prone, but they're already getting to their feet, where she's just hit the floor. They're going to stand up, and they're going to make check. How foolhardy / die hard are they feeling? No. They see this thing in front of them. They watch as your wolf just, like, the guy who's fallen on the floor just gets stepped on, and you see sort of claws slide out like retractable blades and just pierce through this guy, impaling him on the floor as your wolf moves forward, and they just run. Two of them run straight into the building that their friend ran into. The other two run out of town. They run straight towards the gate. On the gate, you can see there are more guards, like proper guards, who are looking pretty fucking confused and terrified. And you can hear like warning bells going off. But other than that, combat is briefly over. Taking me to Zoom. Zoom, you have just eaten shit.
I stand. People are still attempting to look like they're going to kill me?
You've got Gliz in your face with a really big mechanical wolf, but the other guys have just not. This isn't worth it for them. They are running straight towards the town gates, which are probably a couple of 100 feet away down the street.
What is the meaning of this?
You're here and you're asking me questions? I should ask you the same. Look, I don't have a lot of time to explain. These people are going to be dead in a couple of hours. Don't want to waste time with them. Get on the dire wolf.
I remember that.
Get on the dire wolf. We need to go find your pinky friend, the big tall guy. I think Daredun is a big human, right?
He should
sort of.
He should be gone by now.
Oh, he left then.
No, says the air.
What do you mean, no?
He didn't make it out. Last I saw, he was flying. Or, except, I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yes, I'm sure the only person that would be flying in this damnable dome would be the person I cast fly upon. You're telling me that he did not make it out?
Well, he didn't seem to be. To be telling you the truth, didn't really look like him. It was big, but he had a mop. Like a mop of hair. And he was wearing a ridiculously strange outfit, trailing red. And music was playing. It was very confusing.
Oh, that's that notorious criminal, isn't it? Oh.
Actually, now you mention it, it did look awfully like, what was his name? Was it Todd?
Yeah.
No.
Ted?
Timmy.
Todd?
Ted. That's it.
Ted, that's the one, yeah. There's wanted posters from all over town.
I begin flying. I point at the goblin. I cast fly on him, too.
Oh, whoa. Whoa. What is this?
It's called magic, you fool. Now.
He grabs onto the reins of Magritte. He's like, I ain't leaving without her. You have no idea what she means to me.
Magritte is the heaviest thing. Like you might as well be holding on to the earth. She is made entirely of metal. She doesn't budge. You don't budge.
Stay here if you will, but I am going to find him. And I look around in the direction that I think I remember him taking off in.
You want to be heading towards the beacon, to the meeting spot. There won't be anyone there yet, unless they panic and head there straight away.
Fine. I begin flying.
You have absolutely no idea where you're going. Why does everybody do that? And
I kind of like swing and loop around. I'm assuming the only meeting spot would be where the places our people are coalescing in full, unless you had something else in mind.
No, the meeting point. The place where they were meant to meet to discuss a truce.
Do you think that you could elaborate instead of just standing there like a damnable human?
You feel a slap across your face.
Oh, Daredun, I like you.
Daredun slaps you.
Was that Bigby's?
Oh, I'm really tempted to kill her. But we need her, so... Do we need her? Gliz, do we really need her? I'm sure we can figure this out without her.
Well, her people do tend to enslave my people and use them as fodder.
That is true.
I wouldn't,
I pull out the 500 GP gem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were saying?
Look, she's the only thing that's come in here in the past 7 years other than you, Daredun. I need to keep her alive.
Fine.
Not kill her.
North of town, there's a small, very, very small road, trail, footpath that leads out. There's a rock, a large rock, From it, you can see over all of town, and it hangs off the edge of a cliff, which my dear friend Gliz here can tell you what it's like to fall off of multiple times. But that is where both armies were supposed to meet to discuss a truce. That's where your friend was heading, if it really was him.
Yeah.
I drop a globe of darkness on him and I fly away.
You just hear...
Who's him? Bullet?
Oh, yeah, it would be. He's
The
standing
one
right next to the wolf.
It's like I don't have thaumaturgy and I don't think prestidigitation I can slap him with, so it's the only cunty thing I can do is drop a globe of darkness on him, so...
You fly off, and yeah, you just hear, for fuck's sake, the wolf can see through it, because the wolf is a construct and doesn't work like a normal. So the wolf just sort of leads you out, but you hear Derridu stumbling around in the darkness, just, I'm going to kill her, I'm going to kill her, I'm going to kill her, and then bolts of energy like lance out. You see one hits the tavern door, blasts it off, one hits a small sort of, essentially a clothing store, and it just smashes the window. You hear screams from inside, and Derridu just stumbles out, his invisibility having dropped.
As I'm flying away, I say, you can't kill what's already half dead.
Fly, my pretties!
As she's flying away, I would know how to get out of the city, correct? I'd have to go over walls or something, correct?
Yeah, you would have to leave through the northern gate. It's not far.
I'm going to cast jump on my warg. It's jump distance, and we're gonna make a run at the wall. We're gonna jump over the wall.
So you head back to the town center, and you just head straight up the northern road that leads to the gates, and you see like them turning, like they're trying to figure out how they can turn like ballistas inwards, and they don't seem to be able to. They're currently just facing each other, and you just come rushing down towards it, and then leap, and there are guards standing on top of the gate, and you watch as sort of like they just slowly raise crossbows as a direwolf leaps over. You watch as ballistas on both sides of you fire simultaneously, just missing you, and you come and there's fireworks go off behind you. It's beautiful. But you jump clean out of town and just start hauling ass. It's so beautiful. Yeah, and
there's a kid on top of the wall.
Yeah, there's a kid on top of the wall, just like reaches up. His hand comes off where it hits the foot of a metal direwolf, and you start herring out of town. Zoom, you're slightly ahead of them. So, give me a perception check.
It's right there. That's great.
On 11, you look around. You find the rock, but you don't immediately see anyone. Like, you look around, and this rock is...
Sorry. Ignore that.
You see small sparkles appear out of your and you look around, and finally it takes you a good little while. Like, Gliz easily catches up with you, but you find this rock. This rock basically juts out it looks like a huge pillar that's fallen and is now hanging off the edge of the cliff slightly, and there's sort of scrubby bushes and stuff, and trees that have grown around it, and it's gnarled and held. It seems almost to be held in place by vines, and you get to the edge and sort of have a look around, and you hear a cough from beneath you. And as you look down, there is a mop-haired person hanging off the edge of the cliff by a guitar strap, just sort of like slumped. Basically, looks like he's been caught up in it and is just slowly spinning in place.
Zunis for a moment, because this place is in a time bubble, so tempted to just break the guitar strap and kill him. Please tell me there's something that makes me recognize this as Gavin.
As he slowly spins around, you notice one of his arms is radiating energy. You are the Mutarino, by the way.
Gavin?
My skeletal glove.
Yeah.
It's totally me, Zune.
I fly down and attempt to pull him up.
He weighs a ton for a
Yeah, he
skinny
does.
teenager with a mop and a guitar. He weighs so much. And as you sort of reach up and grab him, it's not a waistcoat and a t-shirt that you grab hold of. It is like metal armor. And you have to strain to...
No. I'll just let go. Just trust me and let go.
Yeah, do I know what my guitar does? I do, because I'm attuned to it, right?
Yes, indeed.
I can pull you up if I feather fall you, and you'll be light as a feather, so I can just let go.
Zune, you totally gave me like the totally best idea. And I play a power chord and cast levitate on myself. Ding! And I start to levitate.
I just watch this skinny teenager float in the air, and carry on, Sully. I don't know if I can do this anymore.
You totally have the strength to keep going, Zune. And then you really know it's Gavin. With so much hope in the world, we can totally make it a better place.
I feel like you're one of the jesters from Bracklebur, whatever that stupid human town is.
Breckenridge. Dude, we played there once.
You haven't played anywhere. You're a fucking
Well, we coordinated defended it.
You're a paladin of the Raven Queen. What are you doing dressed like a bard?
I totally got this awesome, wicked axe. Holding up the guitar.
Do I recognize that at all?
This is mainstream. They didn't get it. Like, it wasn't approved for Drow Cinema. Like, maybe on dodgy imports you'd potentially, but nah. Like, this is...
I think I'm going crazy.
No, I think it's just this place. It's totally messed up, but it's kind of wicked cool.
Gliz, you arrived to see these two arguing.
Station!
What is the plan exactly? And I am no longer calling you Gavin while you're in that ridiculous setup, Zune says, finally cracking a smile. You shall be...
I am Ted Tall Squall Logan. Thanks to chat.
Ted
for short is fine.
I need to go back to the tavern.
You might need something stronger.
Yeah. This place is cursed in a different way than we had thought possible. I still remember yesterday.
You don't even know the extent of it.
I kind of like pat my clothing for a second. Is it still there?
Yeah, your clothing's still there.
The book.
No.
I like search in my head for the voice.
You don't hear it.
Totally, what's wrong, Zune?
Nothing.
That sounded really bogus. And you, dude, who are you? Actually, I met you briefly yesterday.
My apologies, Sir Human.
You,
Daradu,
goblin, no. You, it is all coming together now. Perhaps I've just gone a little bit crazy, or perhaps I'm a little bit angry from the things that are missing in my life, but you are not here by chance. You! What deal have you made, and with whom? And why are you still here, and why are you standing in so curiously, and by the Raven Queen as well? Answer me truthfully, or I will tear this whole place anew. There will not be enough time to rebuild the rage.
Zune, you're totally monologuing.
I scream again into the air, just...
It echoes off the cliff as you dramatically scream to Zamora, which you can sort of make out on the other side.
Well, are you missing something, Miss Drow?
You know!
There's something in the town that seems to move around from place to place that Does it remain? Perhaps if you've grabbed it, it's moved from your possession. I don't know exactly what it is.
The book is here, Gavin.
Book?
My book is here.
That is totally bogus. You need to leave that shit behind, Zoom.
It has the key to everything I've ever wanted. I can leave this mortal shell behind, and it is the whole reason this place must be cursed.
No.
Zune kind of throws herself down on the ground
Zoom, I
dramatically.
totally think this place was cursed long before the book came by.
I love how like Zoom just like I can't do it, just collapses on the floor like no, I'm done.
Zoom is totally a drama queen. Station.
And I start taking it out. Drama queen. Yes, okay. No, I've been here for quite some time, and I can assure you that the book almost has nothing to do with it, if there even.
Then what is the item that moves around that you speak of? She says, kind of propping herself up on one arm, dejectedly.
I'm not sure if it even is an item. That's just something I've been able to identify. Usually a crate or a box. It seems to. You see, I've been here for 7 years. There's some sort of force of energy that moves around town that's... How do I explain this? Every day, everything's exactly the same. People go in, people go out, the same battle happens, the same conversations happen, despite minor changes that can be caused by me or our dear friend Daradun, wherever he may be. He should be here soon, he was invisible. But anyway.
As you look back, you can see him. He is dealing with being shot at by a lot of town guard at the moment, and he's like jogging along out of breath, sort of fending off the arrows, just bastard, that bastard, as he jogs up.
I should have gave him a long strider. That would have helped. Oh, well. Screw that guy. But no, 7 years I've been here, and 7 years. Well, let me introduce myself first of all. I'm Gliz, also known as Chieftain Thunderwarg. Yes, and I have a tribe of people here, and we are here fighting the war with the tieflings, which apparently we've lost. My condolences, not my concern anymore. I've been trapped here for so long, 7 years. Along comes Daradun 3 years ago, promised me he's going to break this spell, and along come you guys now. And you've been other than Daradun, the other two only people to ever enter. So perhaps you may offer me some solutions to this conundrum we're in. He looks at you expectantly, both of you expectantly.
We totally want to help out, dude.
What is a dude?
You're a dude. And he's a dude. Everyone's a dude. It's kind of like non-specific noun.
I
Dude.
see. Dude. Sorry. Keep character on that one.
So, I'm totally thinking you're saying that it resets, but one thing changes every single day, and you have to figure out what it is, and you've never figured it out in 7 years?
It's some source of energy. It moves. I'm not that knowledgeable in the arcane arts. Not even Daradun, to my knowledge, is able to figure out what the hell it is.
Daradun arrives just like...
Speak of the devil!
What, like points at you, you see like energy building to kill you, and it's just no. I just
It is very interesting because there still must be the weave that can get in and out of here, and there is an osmosis, and I'm assuming you've tried to dig underneath the city, yes?
Yes, it's a globe, I'm afraid. I've dug tunnels, and the tunnels simply reset. There is one exception. I am an artificer by trade, and I am able to create magical items. They seem to persist through the effect. As you can see, my warg here, which I've crafted, and many tinker clocks and other various items.
I suggest you start praying to Mistra.
Mistra.
Goddess of magic.
Time and goddess magic and stuff. She's powerful, and why is Ted here?
Ted is here because he is here, and that is my companion, who has changed.
Why do you look like Ted?
Totally don't know, dude.
I assume it's some effect of the bubble.
Wait.
Maybe something that's just going on today. I'm sure it will be better later.
You sure do look like the wanted posters around town.
Yes, you look exactly like Ted. You can't play music in town. They have a ban on this riffraff that Ted plays.
Did the preacher totally say that you can't dance either? No rock and roll and no dancing? I knew a guy who went to a place like that.
Yes.
I am losing my mind. I'm losing my mind.
Listen,
We're trapped in a bubble that we can't get out of that allows the arcane flow in and out of it, but it keeps time inside. The mathematical possibilities of this are too much for me to comprehend.
It's because you're thinking about it like math, dude. It's istus. This is divine. This is the work of a god.
Let me be sure. You both remember meeting me yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh God, do we? I've been playing I do. Okay.
Yeah, you remember.
Totally, dude. We were downstairs. You tried to lock us in.
So, my apologies.
You also saw this man die as well.
I know, you were blown to smithereens.
Yeah, my apologies. You see, Daredun and I have this thing that we do, and I let the excitement get the best of me. Surely I could make it up to you somehow. I greatly
Well, you
apologize.
probably totally weren't expecting us to come, so
Yes,
it's understandable.
I had a trap prepared for him, and he's used illusions before. I apologize. I didn't know you were actually real.
Can I tell if he's lying?
Roll me an insight check. No, you have no idea.
I narrow my eyes at him suspiciously.
Don't worry, dude. Zune doesn't trust anybody.
That is an accurate assessment.
It's been 7
Thank you,
years.
Crimson.
Tell me, Zune, do your people still enslave mine for sport?
I do not have anything to do with my people, but I enslave people for sport. Keep talking.
You and I are going to have words later. But for now, we need to figure out how the hell to get out of here. I was hoping perhaps that maybe either of you could help. You said you found a book, Zune.
I did.
It's a totally evil book.
It's not an evil book.
Dude,
Tell me more about this book. He pulls out one of his scrolls from his back pocket and pulls out his diamond tip pen.
It is just a spell book. A useless spell book that cannot be found. I yell into the area around me, just as if angry with the book for betraying me.
Angry? A book that is useless? Yes. Tell me more about this book, Gavin Ted.
The church. What is...
no.
Yup, I just rolled a D10,000. It's an actual roll.
That's the one, right?
9999 Crimson Phoenix. I can look it up here. I've just been asked to roll more Magic Surge from a resub.
Oh my God.
No. It's one off. Holy
Oh
shit.
my God.
It reads, while in this area, no one can speak to anyone else in the area. If I had rolled one higher, it says, the stars are right, and that means that explosions happen.
Whatever
And the end of the
DM's choice.
campaign.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Okay, it's
That's
fine.
spoopy.
It's fine.
That's spoopy.
So yeah, you Christ.
It's fine.
Yeah. You guys see that Deradu has sort of now staring at Zune. Like, he looks worried. And
What is on your mind, human?
you went after the book.
Of course I did. Look at me. I show my undead
You
flesh.
knew about a book, Daredun?
He backs off.
She totally burnt those hands off trying to get it last time. She wants it really, really bad.
I
dude.
wiggle my middle thumbs from the center of my palms, like the little... You don't understand.
I do.
You couldn't possibly... You found it too.
Of course I did.
You're a wizard, were you about to say? And I give him an up and down, like, yeah, right.
That book can bring nothing but trouble here.
Oh, really? I kind of spin in a wide circle with my hands. What else did you expect to find inside of a holy, radiant bubble of traps of death? Happiness and joy?
You didn't.
Actually, it's a holy radiant bubble, sorta.
I get it, dude.
See, you're getting the hang of it now.
It's actually,
You're kind of a dudette, so.
It's a rather interesting noun. I shall use it from time to time. It is in my repertoire of knowledge. Now, yes, I released the book, if that is what you are about to say, from the glass steel in the church.
I love Grant's comment. Vin Diesel is dead Theodore Logan. That's totally accurate, dude.
He looks at you, just sheer, like, genuine terror in his eyes.
Why? Is there something else aside from the book that you are forgetting to mention? Perhaps a voice you might have heard in your head? I look at him very carefully when I say this.
Roll me an insight check.
Oh, come on, baby. One time. So sick. One for the money. That's...
He is a hard man to read, but he hasn't been around people very often, and he generally knows what everyone is about to say. Catches him off a little.
Oh, God damn it.
He looks, there's that slight glimmer of recognition. And then you notice, like, you're staring at him, and he just, like, the fear builds in his eyes. And then you realize he's not actually looking at you. He's looking past you.
I am not going to turn my back to him, because that would be stupid and foolish. I kind of sidestep to Gavin and look to the side.
He's looking out of the bubble, which is hazy and difficult to see as the bubble is sort of like quite bright white light. But it isn't opaque. You can see outside. And whilst it appears that no one in town seems to be aware that the bubble is there, you know, and you've been outside, you know where it is, where its boundaries are, and you see that Zamora that you are looking down at is no longer entirely covered in fog. There is a huge trench of clearness that is cut through Zamora, and it reaches the bottom of the cliff and sort of like out of sight. It leads directly down.
I fly up a little bit if my fly spell is still active to try and take a look.
You peek over the edge. At the bottom of the cliff, which is 100 foot down, there is something that you can see through, almost. It's semi-transparent, and it is one of the largest creatures you've ever seen in your entire life.
Fuck!
That is
Climbing.
That is slowly beginning to try and climb this cliff.
Do I know what it is so I can yell it back to everybody else?
That would appear to be the spiritual form of the Tarask.
Run.
It's outside the bubble?
It is.
Okay. But there's osmosis on the bubble.
Yeah, getting in's not a problem.
And we're going to get... Yeah, imagine that now trapped in the bubble with you. Just imagine. And we're going to cut now to, real quick, Gregor.
Hey.
Kasna sits bolt upright and looks at you with just sheer black eyes.
Hey.
She just stares at you.
Yeah. So, how are you feeling? I like push the contractor away.
She just slowly looks down at her pale, almost translucent skin. It's still dark because she's a drow, but it's sort of grown a little pale, like thin, and looks up at you sort of after examining herself. A question there behind it all.
So, Kazna, turns out you have become a vampire after that thing bit you. Remember that?
And then she jumps you. And we're going to end just there with her throwing herself at Gregor.
Well, I wanted you to throw yourself at me at some point, but...
Where
Not
is
this
my
way.
book, you asshole? Where is my book?
There's no way he was gonna bring that joy and take it away. You should know that.
I just hope that
You
one
have
time,
met Josh, our DM, haven't you?
just one time. I was so happy for like 5 minutes.
Oh, happiness is fleeting in this campaign.
Oh, so fleeting.
Yes. Well, that's what we're going to wrap up tonight's show, my friends, of The Long March. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed all of the curses this month. They have been taken away by the spirit of Halloween as we have celebrated them
Stink.
fully
Yeah, I'm
At
fucking
least-
done with those.
for now. Next month, we've got another fun table coming your way, though. Don't worry. It's even better than the last one.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Oh, I can't even wait. Can't even
Oh,
wait. but-
Christmas table. Yeah, that'll be great.
Christmas
Gifts
is coming
for
soon.
everybody.
Christmas is coming soon. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the show, hit that follow button and join us. Of course, we're here at Encounter Roleplay. You can catch us here on all of our own social medias and the like. We'll be back again tomorrow, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern for Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep. Really looking forward to that one. But let's go around the cast and crew. Do we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you guys online? The start of our Dungeon Master for tonight, Mr. Encounter Josh.
You know what I love doing my time here on Long March, but I think it's almost trumped by just listening to the abuse I get afterwards. Like I need to start recording the abuse that I get afterwards just to give you guys in like a little bonus episode. Mostly Laurelania, just the saltiest individual ever. in
You're
this one.
so lucky you're literally another continent away from me. That's all I'm gonna say.
So, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who donated. Yeah, it's always fun to be given a Tarrasque to play with a second time round. Twice in the campaign. Happy days. But you can find me here on Encounter Roleplay Mondays and Tuesdays. And also, guys, have you checked out Turncloaks? No? Well, if you want to know more about the murder, then you should definitely check that out because that's the most... Oh, it's such a cool... Just saying it's cool. But being there and witnessing it... Ooh.
Those
So,
things.
I'm going to leave you with somebody else.
Let's go over to let's go to Erho. Aaron.
Yeah, you can find me here. Okay, never mind. Yeah, you can find me here at Aero TV on Twitch or on Twitter, and had fun today. Got
Great
to
stuff.
see more of Gliz, so
Yeah, Gliz is cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Liz a lot. He kind of reminds me of another character you played.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. You got a Blassenheimer 9000 there?
no, I do have Deliverance, I think it's called this time, but a little upgraded version of Blastenheimer, I suppose.
Nice, nice. Very cool, very cool. Tour School, bro.
Dude, I totally had the most excellent time here for my Halloween. Gavin will be back in normal form next time, but I'm totally keeping the guitar because that's cool. Because
Yeah, you can keep the guitar.
I was gonna say, as a cleric, like being able to cast like levitate and fly, and we need to talk about its special spells. So, other than that, you can find me at Tall Squall all over the interwebs. If you go to my Twitter account, there's links to everything else there. Also, on Saturdays, I DM a campaign on my channel. So, stop by,
Great
say hello.
stuff. And Laurelania.
I don't want to talk to you. Or you?
Me?
Or any of you?
What have I done?
Nope. Just you. Well, you. What did I do? Here's a list of curses to fuck you over with. By the way, I have some extra toes and thumbs. Yeah, what did you do? I'm kind of interested in seeing on how Zune will integrate dude into her vocabulary because learning another language, she just thinks it's part of the language, right? So that'll be fun to play with as a character.
You colossal dude.
You dude.
Absolute dude.
So that'll be
Because
fun to
Gavin's
play
be
with.
like, why are you talking like that? I don't understand.
I'm gonna be like, dude, don't you understand? That's gonna be fun. I can't
You
wait.
keep
for
using that word. I don't think you know what it means.
that.
I'm going to just start doing all the 80s quotes from all the 80s movies.
Josh.
That word.
Josh. Yeah, just keep sinking down there, buddy. I have fun. I'm Laura Lanya. I play Zune. I'm just a little traumatized today. Yeah, you better run. We'll see you next week. And
Yeah.
happy Halloween.
Happy
Thanks for all the
Halloween,
curses.
everybody.
Thanks for all the donations. You guys are great as always. And I was moved to tears by Greg's performance today, so that was good. And boy, is Kazna ever gonna be.
Man, I can't wait for next week.
That was so Terminator-like. Sorry.
It is the return of 80s movies.
It surely is.
I'm crying.
Oh,
I'm done.
Zymac, thankful host here right at the end, buddy. But we are just wrapping up tonight's show. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed it. I know that we've certainly had a great time here again on the Long March. We're back
Somebody
same
get a
time
gif of that.
next week for more. But of course, tomorrow is Call of Cthulhu, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's when you will see us next. Enjoy Halloween. Do whatever it is you guys are up to tonight. Get fucking drunk for me, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, however, try not to draw too many net ones. Won't be here laughing when you do. We're gonna go host a friend of ours named On the Forefront who is currently playing some mouse guards. So happy Halloween, everybody. We'll see you guys over there. Enjoy.
Totally be excellent to each other, dudes.
No more of this. No more of this.
Happy
It's-
Halloween.
It's over. It's done. Good night.
That's